Good evening and welcome to the meeting of the Norwood Planning Board. My name is Debbie Homewood. I serve as the chair. A quorum is present and the meeting is therefore called to order. If you can't hear me, please just raise your hand. Tonight's proceedings will go as follows. Public hearing, which we have one. And we have two, but one's still open, right? We're going to have to read the notice again?
Yes.
Okay. The applicant will have an opportunity to make their presentation to the board. The board members may then ask questions of the applicants. Once the board has concluded its questioning, I will open the hearing to public comment. All members in the public attendant who wish to ask questions or make a comment must wait to be recognized by the chair before speaking. Once recognized, prepare to state your name and address for the record and speak loudly. Please come up to the dais. All questions and comments must be directed to the chair, and I will call upon board members or the applicant as needed to respond. The board will then move into a period of deliberation, determining whether or not it closes the public hearing and moves to a vote, or continues the public hearing to a later date. A few quick reminders: please be respectful. Please turn off your phones, which I have done. Phones off. Can't hear me? Oh my goodness gracious, that's unusual. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want me to repeat anything? Turn off your phones? Refrain from side conversations, and if you're leaving between hearings, please take it outside. You could shut those doors so we can continue with our business. Our first item on the agenda is, we're called to order, and the comp plan update. Is that you, Sarah?
Yes.
We need Vanna here.
Sorry. Thank you. Sarah Dixon, Director of Community Development. I'm just providing a quick update on the comprehensive plan. We are winding down our public engagement. We have a handful of opportunities for folks to participate before we conclude phase 3, which is all about prioritizing our draft list of goals. There is a survey that is open through January 15th. The link to that survey is available on our website, which is tinyurl.com/NorwoodCP. There's also a direct link off the homepage of the Town of Norwood website. There are also paper copies of that survey available at Town Hall, at the Senior Center, at the Civic, and at the library. We have a comprehensive plan steering committee meeting on December 22nd. That's Monday. And that will be here at the Senior Center at 7 p.m. There will be an opportunity for public comment at that meeting. And then our last event is an open house, which will be on January 12th at 7 p.m. up at the library. Anybody in the community is invited to attend either of those events, but that open house will be a good opportunity, and our last one, to be able to weigh in on our draft list of strategies. So just wanted to advertise those opportunities to participate. Everyone's welcome. Thank you.
And if they can't do any of those things, they can call Town Hall and ask for you.
100%.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, public hearing, 6365 Nahantan Street, definitive subdivision application continued from December 1st, 2025. Still open? Go ahead.
Good evening, Gary McCormick, Director of Development with Crosspoint Associates. Pleasure to be back. With me tonight is David Hearn, our local attorney, and also Brandon Lee, who's our civil engineer on the project.
Okay, speak closer to that mic because we got a house full, please. Thank you.
Director of Development with Crosspoint Associates, Gary McCormick. With me is attorney David Hearn, and our civil engineer is Brandon Lee from Kelly Engineering.
Thank you.
So we opened the hearing on 11/3, and after that meeting, we responded to some comments from the town engineer, Mark Ryan. We submitted those. He acknowledged that they were addressed all of his comments. Our last meeting was 12/1. Understand that there was needed a little bit more time for department review, so we deferred to tonight. The items that are outstanding currently are, there are a few items that have been addressed. So the ones that are open are trees, which are waiver 1 and waiver 4. And then the drainage waivers 5 and 8. The other items, the dead-end street, I think it's been identified that it's not technically a waiver. And then the vertical curves, we have a plan that can show kind of what the difference is between what we've designed and what kind of would be required. But Mark Ryan acknowledged that he thought the double catch basin design that we currently show in our updated plan set was satisfactory. So that would address waiver 7, which would be the vertical curves. But items 2, 3, and 9, we've been able to address. There were a couple additional concerns that Ms. Dixon put in her memo to the planning department, or to planning board. The environmental impact statement needed a stamped by a professional engineer. That's been done and submitted, stamped by Brandon Lee from Kelly Engineering.
Do we have that in our packet?
I can
No, it
hand
was
that out.
provided today, so you don't have to make my.
But it's just same document, just stamped by a PD.
Okay.
So I can hand that out if you want.
I would love that, please. And I brought you told us to hold on to last week, so I have last week's just in case. Thank you.
So it's just the last page has been stamped. That's the only thing that's different about it.
And this is which waiver number?
It's just a requirement. So it's in Sarah's letter. There was a section 4.3.2.I is the environmental impact statement. So that was previously submitted. It just didn't have a PD, professional engineering statement.
Okay, thank you.
And then to address some of the other additional concerns, so performance guarantee, we would provide a covenant to handle that performance guarantee. That's one of the options that you can do. Whether you build it or not, so you provide a covenant, so guarantee, and record that. And then the other couple items were road names on the plan, so if there are any other changes or updates, we'll submit a couple road names. There's one primary, and then there'll be a secondary option that was requested to submit in the additional concerns. And then there's just a precast tree wells. We will put that detail on the plans.
Precast what?
Precast tree well to protect the trees, the roots of the trees,
Okay.
on the side,
Yep,
on the
yep.
roadway trees. But the landscaping, that should be on sheet 11, and then there was a request for street lights and electric, and that was shown also on a flow-up on sheet 11.
Sheet 11 in this.
Sheet 11 in the plan set, yeah.
I have 3 of them now.
Additionally, we've been able to connect with Mr. Morrissey of the Norwood Light Department to go over any questions he had. A lot of them were just about future development and building, so it was great that we were able to connect with him, and we'll sit down with him prior to any major planning to make sure we were addressing. I think there's, especially the specialized stretch energy code that Norwood has adopted, so there's a significant infrastructure for electricity for the level 3 EV charging, if that is what goes forward. So we've done a project recently in Concord that had specialized stretch energy code, and it does have a substantial amount of electrical demand if you go at the level 3, so we understand that requirement. So we'll sit with him and go through all the requirements of the Norwood Light Department. So
Okay, thank you.
we're here to answer any additional questions and turn it
Questions from the board? Anybody? Arnie?
Well, I'll start.
That's fine.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I guess I'll just make my few comments. I've been going back and forth on this one, and I'm probably the outlier here. Let's call it for what it is, where the applicant is trying to freeze their zoning for 8 years. They don't have a plan right now as far as what the final outcome of that piece of property is going to be. And just so to touch so everybody understands it's 8 years. You may not like the 8 years, you may think it's too long. Personally, I think it's too long. Doesn't matter what I think. If you go to Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws and go to Section 6, it clearly states, this is Massachusetts law, that they can freeze it for 8 years. So this is nothing that the town has made up, it's nothing that the planning board has made up. This is a Massachusetts general law. So the 8 years is the law, they have that right. And then I'm going back and forth on what the intent is and what town meeting voted on when they rezoned this back. And I went through and I understand that they don't have an applicant in front of them. They don't have a final plan of what they want to do. And they're doing the bare minimum it's not, to do it, but they're doing it. So I went through the subdivision rules and regulations book, and I went through Section 4, and I kind of, with the planning department, have a little difference of opinion. The intent possibly could be that they had to have a plan. I'm going to just use, let's say, a grocery store. They were going to put a grocery store in there. The town got wind of it, didn't like their plan. They rezoned it, pulled the rug out from under them. And this 8 years is to prevent that. But I went through Section 4 of the subdivision control laws, and I looked hard, but I really couldn't find anywhere in there where that stated that you had to have a plan with buildings. I mean, it obviously references all of that, but it doesn't say that a definitive plan has to have a plan, building, and maybe I misread it, and the planning department can correct me if I'm wrong. But I went through the whole subdivision control section on definitive plans, and it was like 8 pages, and I couldn't find where it says you have to have a finalized plan to do this. And then I'm looking at the waivers. Madam Chairman, if we could just go over exactly, just so, what waivers are we, or Attorney Hearn, what waivers are we actually, I know it's 1, 2, and then it's what, 5, 6, 7, and 8? Are those the waivers we're looking at tonight?
Well, I mean, you're looking at all.
Yes, but some are done, but I mean,
They've done 2 and 3
so we have to look at 1 through 4.
and 9, but you should answer that.
I just want to be clear what waivers we're
McCormick can answer
okay.
that. Sure.
Yeah, I can run down the list really quickly.
Yeah.
So, number 1 is trees, tree related.
Okay, so we're looking at that one tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 4 is also tree related.
Yeah.
5 is drainage related,
Yeah.
so that one as well. 6 is dead end streets.
Yeah.
Not technically a waiver, but I think you need to discuss it. And then the number 7 is vertical curves, so we can
Yeah.
show you why Mr. Ryan, Town Engineer Mark Ryan was happy with the design that we currently have. We can discuss that. 8 is drainage as well, and then 9 is been satisfied. So
9 satisfied.
2, 3, and 9 are satisfied.
Right, so it's 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah. correct.
Okay. So I was going through the waivers, and that's what I had as well. I just want to make sure we're all talking on the same page. And I'm not trying to make it easy on a developer, but I don't want to make it difficult either when we have a condition drafted by the town planner and town council that protects the town when future development takes place. And for the life of me, I say, we have the fire department has waved in. And they're in the summary of the department comments, that the fire department has reviewed the revised plans and determined that the turning exhibits are sufficient to meet the technical requirements of their apparatus. So the fire department is okay. The town engineer reviewed the revised plans as well as the applicant's agreement to the draft condition of approval, that's what I just talked about, and communicated to the board that he finds the revisions and conditions acceptable. And I just, and I may be the only one up here that thinks this way, that do we really need them to do this work twice when they're going to have to do it again when they come forward with a supermarket or a car dealership or whatever they may come forward with? That this work will all have to be redone. Now, on the trees, I would suggest that possibly, I know that the town planner had put a possible, what's the word I'm looking for? Compromise, that count the borders, but that could possibly be accepted, or that the proposed roadway, that we count the trees that would be removed in the right-of-way and the roadway. So Madam Chairman, to make a long story short here, I am okay, and I may be the outlier here on some of this, because I think that we're gonna make are we really gonna make them go count trees or do some of these perk tests when they come up with another plan, they're gonna have to go back out and do it again, and it'll be required for them to do it again. So those are my comments. I just, I'm kind of okay with it, and I might not, like everything about it, but they meet the requirements, and that's what I think the board has to look at, is do they meet the bylaw? Now, there are waivers that we're gonna have to vote on, and the rest of the board will have to weigh in on that, but that's where I'm at on this thing.
Joe?
Thank you. I feel the same way in the sense that if they're going to be working in a certain area, certainly they have to do the work for that particular area, but they don't have to go out into areas that they're not going to be doing anything until possibly the future. And it doesn't seem fair. So that's the reason why I would agree that where the work's being done now, you want to do everything that's needed there, but not over the whole area, because they're only using a small area that they're going to be working on.
If they do it.
If they do it.
All right, thank you, two gentlemen. I hear what you're saying. I guess I come from a little different perspective. I appreciate what's being done here. I appreciate what's being requested. However, there's a great many people in this town that probably have zero desire to sort of make things easier in any capacity for a developer who's trying to freeze the zoning that, I hate to use the word loophole, but it's effectively a loophole based upon the original approval of the BPH district and the inclusion of the language that was since stricken at town meeting. This is something that I'm sure there's a great many people in the town would not wish to make this process any easier than it already is. I just want everybody out there to understand, if these waivers are denied, the owner of this property is in all likelihood going to do whatever they need to do to get this definitive subdivision plan approved. It's just a matter of how much money it's going to cost. But I have a philosophical issue with any subdivision plan that comes before the town, and to our review, and my interpretation of it is, every plan is a proposal of something that's going to be built, and we have to utilize the applicable rules and analysis. And towards that end, I would be inclined to not grant any of the waivers apart from some of the proposed with regard to the trees that Ms. Dixon laid out in her memorandum. Thanks.
I'm going to echo Brian's comments. I feel as though we shouldn't be allowing waivers to move forward when it seems to be the will of the town to basically not have the zoning frozen from, not from years ago, to just go along and kind of help the developer do that seems a bit out of step. Yeah, keep it short and sweet for you.
Thank you, gentlemen. I agree with some of Ernie's comments and to his point. What have had issues with this since we started in November is I just don't have enough information. And I was under the impression that a definitive subdivision law was to allow projects that had already begun to finish. They've made a good point. I just am not comfortable granting waivers for things that we haven't done. So, with that being said, I'm going to restrict everybody to 3 minutes, and I can let the applicant respond. And then we're going to take questions from the audience. If there's a lot of them, I'd like to ask you, can you hear me? If there's a lot of questions, I'm going to let the applicant respond. And if you want to ask questions, line up behind the dais, please. Thank you. Mr. Hearn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, David Hearn Jr. of Gelman and Cabral on behalf of the applicant. I want to speak to a couple of the points that were discussed in the members' comments. Mr. Peczkowski, I think, appreciate his review of the subdivision regulations, which are from the town. I think it's important for folks to be reminded of what the purpose of the subdivision control law, which is Chapter 41, Section 81M. And I quote, "The subdivision control law has been enacted for the purpose of protecting the safety, convenience, and welfare of the inhabitants of the cities and towns in which it is or may hereafter be put in effect by regulating the laying out and construction of ways in subdivisions, providing access to the several lots therein, but which have not yet become public ways, and ensuring sanitary conditions in subdivisions and, in proper cases, parks and open areas." That is the purpose of the subdivision control law, and the town has to follow that purpose in its regulations. That purpose does not mention at all buildings or development. This is not there's nothing in the subdivision control law or in your consideration of a definitive subdivision plan that requires you to think about what might be developed down the road. That falls under zoning. It doesn't fall under the subdivision control law. These proposed lots conform to the zoning bylaw in terms of the area and the frontage. But the concerns that people have about what might be developed down the road are not proper considerations under the subdivision control law. And I'd like to make that point, Madam Chair, because we hear a lot of comments from folks, both town officials, and I think members of the board as well as the public, that we're not telling you what we're going to build and that we shouldn't be allowed to do this. We are allowed to do it, to request it under the statute, which is supreme, over our bylaw and over our regulations. And the purpose of the subdivision control law has nothing to do with what you're going to build. That is governed, and as Mr. Peczkowski said, he thought that the condition that was drafted originally by us, revised by town council with the assistance of the planning department, adequately protects the town on future development. What also adequately protects the town on future development is the fact that we would have to come before you for special permits and site plan review before we built anything on that site, anything new on that site. So I would ask you, Madam Chair and members of the board, not to get hung up on what might be done. This may be called a loophole. It's also called a statute that allows us to do this under Section 6. And we did, when we proposed this, the law as it existed in this town allowed for various uses that have since been changed by the town meeting. So, Madam Chair, I think it was important to allow me, and appreciate the time, to respond because these are
you
legal
did.
questions more than factual questions.
I understand.
Thank you.
And you're allowed to ask, and we're allowed to say no. So I gave you 2 minutes on the timer. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak?
When you're ready, there is somebody online.
You want to start with the online? You want to start with the online people? Okay. If you want to speak, please line up. We're going to start with the online people.
Gail Ladani.
Who?
Gail Ladani.
Gail Ladani. And I'm
Hi,
giving...
can you hear?
I can, but I'm giving everybody 3 minutes.
Okay, you got it.
Go.
Gail Ladani, 580 Neponset Street, Norwood. My question is, if it's mass law, then why is this happening? Why is this happening? Clearly, it's because the town gets to make these decisions. It may be mass law that they're allowed to do certain things. It doesn't mean they should. Just referencing quickly that David Spiegel promised that he wouldn't ever build behind the homes on the Neponset Street extension, and yet he did. I'm not going to go there. Don't worry.
Okay,
I'm
all
not going
right,
there.
because you're using up your time.
But I'm just saying that if we allow them to have these waivers, and we don't know what they're building, what's to stop them from saying, yeah, we said we weren't going to do this, but you know what? We need
Okay.
to do that. So what I'm saying is I oppose this.
Okay,
Thank you.
time's up, thank you. Do you want to stay online, Sarah, or
I don't see anybody else with their hand raised.
anybody else online want to push their hand raise button? Okay. Step up, speak into the mic, please, name and address.
Brian Palmetier, 18 Ridge Road. I just want to speak for the trees. I'll just speak on one of the waiver things.
Oh, can't hear
You can't hear
you.
me? Is that any better? Just I'll lean
Instead of
forward.
yelling out, can we raise your hands, please? Go ahead.
Can you start the time over?
Oh, I didn't start
you
to
didn't start
begin
yet.
with.
There
There
we
you go.
Okay, good. I hope I don't take 3 minutes. I sent to you guys, I don't know if it was after the last continuance or whatever, 3 examples of technology that can be used to very efficiently count the trees.
Oh,
One
we
can be
can't hear
done-
you again.
One of them can be done on a smartphone, where you're just walking through, you're letting the technology do the work for you, all the GPS, things like that. So, very relatively simple technology. The developer is asking you essentially to extend their, I heard them talk about the 8 years. That adds value to this property. It does not seem unreasonable to me to ask them to spend a little money to count the trees, because that is a requirement of the law and the rules that they're using to get this extension. So it doesn't seem unreasonable to me to ask them to count the trees.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else want to speak on this? Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to let the applicant respond, but we've only had 2 people speak, so nobody else wants to speak on this, because I'm not going to go back out again. Oh, we have a taker. Hi.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Margaret Cole. I live at 75 Railroad Ave. I grew up on K Street, which is a little tiny street over at in between Railroad and William Street. So it's all right there, and I live right around the corner from there now. My niece is raising her kids on Railroad Ave now, on K Street now. So I live right in that section of Lennox Street. And we've got cars going up and down all day long, and we have the fire, response team going back and forth. I'm sorry.
They can't hear, you can't hear her?
No, Debbie, I think she's on the other issue. She's on
Oh,
Lennox
sorry,
Street.
sorry, yes, you're on
You're early.
55 Lennox.
Oh, I
We're talking
so
about-
apologize.
That's okay.
Because I'm raring to go.
Okay.
But I'll be back. Thank you.
Okay. Nobody else, I'm going to let the applicant respond to the 2 comments that we had. Oh, wait a minute. I have to let Ms. Howard speak. You want me to take her the mic?
I don't know if I can take it.
You good, Judith?
Thank you very much. Judith Howard, Town Meeting Member, District 3.
May we have the address, please?
Address, Judith.
200 Nichols.
200 Nichols.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I would just like to know if the applicant is thinking of, if this gets approved, if he is going to, or if they are going to sell the property prior to a plan that will come down the road. I'm just asking.
Okay, I don't think that is in front of us, but it's up to the applicant if he wants to respond to that.
But if you approve it though, then they can have the opportunity to sell it. But if they,
Any applicant can do that, and it's private property. Do you have anything else? Because I'm going to give you a little extra time.
no, I just wanted to know
Okay, and that's up to the applicant if he wants to
that. Yeah.
answer that. Okay, nobody else, and I'm going to let the applicant have 3 minutes.
Madam Chair, just
Yes?
to that point, I'm just going to ask the, just to Ms. Howard's point about selling the property, just to be clear, I'm going to ask town planner, whatever happens here, it goes with the land, correct? So the 8 years, depending, it could have 5 ownerships, but it stays with the land, correct? So it would carry over to any future buyer, owner, the same conditions would apply.
Okay. Mr. Rendon, I did want to ask, we have a lot of letters, and they're all in the, we all got them. So we did get all your letters and requested 6 or 7 of them, I believe, right, Sarah? And they're all in the package, and we've all read them. Correct? Everybody, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Hearn?
May I ask, just so it's clear, what letters are you referring to?
We have from Ms. Howard.
Yep.
We have from, that's another one. Mr. Kanicki, I think?
On this one?
No, did I goof it up again? No, we have some. Mr. Palmetier, but they're all in the record.
But I want to be, if I may.
Okay, yes, you
say we
may.
have 6 or 7 letters and we
I
don't.
think I'm confusing you with Leonard.
Yeah, it might be.
Mark Ryan. Okay.
We've heard.
Judith was in for this one, yes. And
I
that's
think
in
there
our
was
package.
a note from Ms. Howard dated December 8th. We were provided with that. We received separately a letter from the Light Department, and we've been in touch with them. And I think their concerns are more about when we get around to building something, we'll have to meet with them on all the technical requirements. There was a fire department, I believe, indicated they were satisfied. They'd received the plans and had no further comments. Mr. Ryan has reviewed the plans and is satisfied with the plans, I think.
Yep.
Mr. Pelletier wrote a memo that I think he was focused on us having an actual project to consider, and the law is quite clear that we don't have to put a project before. That's not what subdivision is about. Subdivision is about the creation of ways. We propose a very small way, less than 200 feet in depth on this property, and the provision of utilities, which we have laid out the utilities.
I'm going to give you one more.
Okay, but I think,
I know.
it's the applicant. I think with everybody saying things, I want to try to
We only had
clarify.
3. Okay.
Well, Mr. Palmetier, I know, had submitted something about counting trees. I reviewed that. I don't know if that would work or not. On the question of counting trees, if the board, and the planner, I think, had recommended the buffer around the lots, we can do that. If you really want us to count every tree on these 20-odd acres, even though we're not going to take down very many of them to build the roadway,
Okay.
we would do that. And I think part of what we're
You
trying
told
to
us
find
that.
out is, of the things that don't really relate to what we would do for this 185-foot cul-de-sac, what is it that you really are concerned about? Most of the trees are not going to be touched. On the question of drainage, we can provide you with drainage plans for that roadway. We've actually given the drainage plans for the roadway. If you want us to dig some test pits, even though we're already on town sewer, we can show what the percolation might be and all that. But until we know what we're going to build there, that seems to be an exercise in providing an answer to something that is not what's ultimately going to be there.
I agree.
So on those points, I think if I look at the list that we went over with you previously,
You're on your third time, Mr. Hunt.
well, may I have an
Okay.
extension? I mean, I think
Yes,
it's important
but
for the applicant
okay.
to be allowed. Trees, there are two dealing trees. If you really want us to count the trees that are there now and the trees that would be left after we build the roadway, we can do that, but the vast majority of those trees have nothing to do with the actual construction proposed in this subdivision. And the construction proposed is a roadway. The vertical curve, that's number 7. We have provided something that I think Mr. Ryan is satisfied with, but if you want us to do it the other way, which we don't think, and I think he doesn't necessarily think is the best way to do it, but according to your regulations, we could do it, sure. On the question of drainage, I kind of spoke to that, and that's numbers 5 and 8. 2, 3, and 9 is satisfied, and but I go back to the looking at some of the comments. People think that there was a comment a moment ago about adding value. When the town meeting voted on this project, it eliminated certain uses that were allowed for this property. So we lost value on that. And that's why we're trying to preserve those opportunities by preserving the provisions of the bylaw as they existed when we had already filed a preliminary plan.
I agree, and I
Okay.
think the people that are gonna vote are up here, and we understand that, we've belabored that.
I don't know, because when somebody gets up and says that your voting this adds value, you're
But
approving a
we're-
plan adds value.
Right, but
Okay, well, I
we're,
don't know
Okay.
what you think on that, so I'm trying to make the pitch as if
Okay.
somebody else made another pitch.
you're on your fifth timer,
And on the question of selling the property,
not,
we're not, that's not an issue before you,
I.
and I'm not trying to
made that
hide
clear.
something
I
either.
understand
There's nothing to
that.
hide.
Okay.
So we ask you, but if in fact the concern of the planning board, if what is keeping the members from approving this, and this is what we've been trying to get, we've had these discussions, we had initial discussions, we had at the first meeting, sort of a straw vote to see where people felt. There was some change in some of the feelings of some people on that. We have responded, and I've just said to you, if you really think that to build a 180-foot, 5-foot road, we need to count all the trees on that subdivision, on that property that is the subject of the subdivision, even though we're not building anything on most of that, that's fine, we'll do it. If you really want us to do the drainage, we will do it, and we'll bring
Okay.
back the
All right,
plans.
you've told us that many times, and we appreciate that, and
But we haven't been told that that's really what people want. If that's what you want, that's where we are. We've given the different departments that have to review this the updates. We've given you folks the updates. We didn't have a meeting with certain department heads, as we often do, because it was felt it wouldn't be necessary. Not by us. We asked for a meeting, and I said we don't need to have a department heads meeting. So we've satisfied the fire department, we've satisfied the town engineer, the planner has made some suggestions. If you folks as a board some of you are tending to vote no because you say we haven't provided stuff and you don't want to grant those waivers, we'll get rid of those waivers.
I don't,
That's what I'm telling you.
I understand what you're saying, and I think we've all been clear about, I think, at least, I'm speaking for myself, been consistent since we started this in November. I just don't have enough information to vote on this up. You have given me more information.
So
It's
what-
information we can't get. I don't want to belabor the point.
What is the
Truly.
information you want that would help you decide it?
There isn't, you can't give me anything you can't give me anything. It's an incomplete application, in my opinion.
Madam Chair, it's not an incomplete application when provides what is either provides what is requested or asks for the waivers, and if you say, we won't give you those waivers,
Okay.
we'll give you the information you want. It seems an unnecessary exercise to count on 20 acres of,
Okay.
all
right.
those trees, but we'll do it if that's what you really want.
Okay, let's,
Otherwise,
I said I wasn't gonna open it up anymore because then Mr. Hearn,
yeah.
oh, Ernie's got his hand up? Okay.
Just a procedural question. If these waivers,
We're gonna vote on them
It's just a
separately.
procedural question, Madam Chairman.
Yep.
If some of these waivers were denied, where does that leave the plan? Do they have to refile, or can they go out and do them?
So my recommendation would be to hold votes on these waivers to get a sense as to whether or not you feel like you can proceed with the application. If you vote to deny some of these waivers and the public hearing is still open, the applicant then has the opportunity then to supply the information that the waiver was requesting not to have to provide. The public hearing would still be open. We would continue to a date that was mutually agreeable to allow the applicant time to provide whatever it is, whether it's the tree count or the drainage calculations or whatever outstanding information would essentially not be waived in this application. Does
what
that make
if,
sense?
what if we close the public hearing, the board voted, some of these waivers were denied? Does the applicant still have an opportunity to go out and correct
Satisfy
it?
it.
And,
I
or
wouldn't-
do you have to refile?
I wouldn't recommend closing the public hearing because
I just want to know what
then when they
happens. in that.
provide that information, the public wouldn't have an opportunity to discuss it and ask questions.
Okay, thank you.
Right, so I would recommend not closing the public hearing if the votes on the waivers result in any denial, to allow you the opportunity to continue this, give them time to provide the information that is now being required.
Okay.
Now, I suppose, and this isn't what the applicant seems to be saying, but if the applicant chose not to proceed by providing those drainage calculations or tree counts or what have you, then you would have to vote on the application as it stands, and you may choose to vote no by saying it's incomplete. But it doesn't sound, it sounds like the applicant has indicated that if the waivers were not granted, then they would be interested in the opportunity to provide that information. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
I'm
it
still,
seems like that's.
Yeah,
I'm still
That
confused on
opportunity
one
is there.
thing.
Right.
If we close the public hearing, and this is all procedural now, I'm not saying one way or another. If we close the public hearing, how does the applicant know if we've approved or disapproved his waiver?
That's why I'm recommending that you hold a vote on the waiver first before closing the public hearing.
It's still kind of, because some may get approved, some may not. So I'm a little confused on where would,
Voting on the waivers just provides clarity to the applicant on next steps,
And then we decide if we're closing the public hearing?
depending on the outcome of that vote
I'm
on
still
the
a little
waivers.
Yeah, I'm a little
on
confused
that.
too. And it's a simple majority?
These waiver requests, for the most part, are not usually, I shouldn't say usually, there's two different kinds of waiver requests. Sometimes the waiver request is from a design requirement, which might look like instead of a 24-inch roadway, we want a
20 foot.
foot roadway. We want a narrower roadway than is required. That's a design requirement. When you vote no on a design waiver like that, they have the opportunity then to draw it in compliance with the regulations. Many of these are application requirements that they're asking for waivers from. So there are components of the required subdivision application, the drainage calculations, the tree counts, that they're asking to waive those application requirements. You don't have those components of the application before you. So before you close the public hearing, my recommendation is that you hold votes on these waiver requests so that they know whether or not you've considered their application complete or not. And by leaving the public hearing open, you give them the opportunity to provide that information that, as of today, is missing. And it's missing with a waiver request, so it's, there's the reason why it came before you, but you have to decide whether you think that these waivers represent information that's fundamental to the application, or if you
Okay.
feel that you can waive those requirements and move forward with
motion to approve.
Okay.
If I could speak to that, I think Ms. Dixon laid it out. The types of waivers we're looking for, and there are waivers that are substantive, you know, build a 26-foot roadway or a 24-foot, you know, and you folks have
Right,
waived those
right.
requirements in the past. So
Right.
the idea of a waiver is nothing new,
I
nor is
understand
it
that.
unusual.
I understand that.
But there are also waivers related to the application materials. And the point about those is that we're saying to you, look, do you really want us to do this on a roadway?
I understand that, Mr. Hearn.
But this is following up on what Ms. Dixon just
Okay.
said. These are application requirements. And so if you said, yeah, we don't need you to count every single tree on 26 acres when all you're building on is all you're building is a roadway that takes up a couple of acres, you don't have to go through that.
Instead of belaboring
Tell
that
us
point, why don't we go ahead with voting on the waivers?
But I think the question comes down to.
Oh my God.
If the.
Somebody's not on silence on the Zoom.
Yeah.
Please silence your,
If you tell us that these application-type waivers, application-related waivers, you really want them, I'm saying to you, we'll go out and do them. But it's the type of thing you have to come in and ask whether you really want them. It's not a question of, do you want us to build a roadway? Do you want this information that has nothing to do with building a roadway? That's all.
okay, understand. Okay. Is the board ready to go ahead and vote on the waivers? Can I do
Are
that?
these binding votes?
Is
it too
late for me to
Are these binding votes, even though we haven't closed the
I
public hearing?
I ask everybody to do it, and then they're binding votes,
They
correct?
can be.
Yep.
You can take a poll informally, or you can move directly to the votes.
I
That's
would-
at the discretion of the chair.
I would like to move directly to a vote. If anybody has an issue with that on the board, speak up, please. And we have to vote on all 9 of them one at a time.
Not 9, 7.
Even the ones that are scratched out? I thought we had to vote on those too, Sarah.
No.
Okay,
both of them were-
so,
2, 3, and 9 have been.
okay. So does anybody have an objection to that on the board? No? No? You good? Okay. Okay. First waiver, section 4.3.3, required to show major site features including mature trees over 8 inches in diameter. What's your vote? Ernie?
Can we discuss it?
Sure.
There was I would recommend a change
that they show in the roadway A, in the town right-of-way, that they have to count how many over 8-inch they would be removing if they were to build that roadway. Is that
How is that different from what we've got? Major site features including mature trees over 8 inches in diameter. Do you want to change the wording of that? Second that.
Want to do that just in the buffers?
well, there's 2 ways. We could do it just we could just do it in the roadway, in the right-of-way, or your suggestion was the entire buffer. We could discuss it. I'm fine with the roadway, but if others would rather see the buffer counted instead, and I'm reading this, that, why would we make them do 26 acres? And that's nuts, but I would think that my recommendation would be that they count what they would be taking down if they were to build Road A, and that obviously includes the right-of-way.
Madam Chair, your regulations say count every tree on the entire site, 26 acres. So that's one option. Ms. Petchakowski has one, and Ms. Dixon recommended one. But that's what we're balancing against, counting every tree on the 26 acres that's 8 inches or more in
So Ernie,
diameter.
what's your motion to change it every tree or just in the roadway?
in anything that's in roadway A and in the right-of-way.
And how is that different from requirement to show major site features including mature trees over 8 inches?
One is you're counting about 2 acres worth of trees, and the other one you're counting 26 acres of trees.
So how can we be clear that it's the 2 acres?
It's in roadway A and the right of way.
Roadway A and the right-of-way. It's on the plan.
Okay, You want to change that?
That's my suggestion.
Okay,
Second?
okay. All in favor of changing
It's too
it
late to amend, right?
to amend the waiver?
Too late to amend the motion?
No.
No, speak on it.
Yeah, go ahead, speak on it.
So we've got, Ernie, 20 feet within the roadway, the cul-de-sac, we have the right-of-way. Are those two separate areas?
No, it's really the right-of-way is the road plus the, there's usually an 8-foot berm around any paved roadway, which includes the right-of-way.
Just around the proposed new roadway.
Okay, if it's agreeable, I'd like to amend it to include a buffer around the entire property, 30 feet.
Then you're back to the original, aren't you?
No,
No, no.
post the whole entire thing.
I think, I don't know, Madam Chairman, if you can amend my amendment.
Without
I think you
voting
have
on
to
it?
vote on mine, and
Oh,
then
wait a minute,
either up
can't
or
hear.
down, and then he can bring a new.
Hold on. Go ahead. We have to vote on yours, and then Rob's got to make a
I believe
full...
that's the
Was there a
case.
second for Ernie's?
Joe seconded.
Oh, yeah, it was seconded. so-
Okay, so you want to make another motion after we vote on it, because it's already seconded? What do you think? Ernie?
Well, my motion was to amend
To-
the first waiver, that
To-
would be to count the mature trees 8 inches in diameter in the right-of-way of Road A.
Okay, so I think we should vote on that, and then you could make a different motion? Would you like to do that?
Yes, you could do that.
How about that? Okay,
What if this passes? Then let's move.
Well, if it passes, it passes. Then
Yeah.
then there's no second bite of the apple.
okay.
Are you interested in changing your motion or not?
To include the buffer? No.
Okay, that's what wasn't clear.
Okay. We ready to take a vote?
Yes.
Can't amend it, so, okay. Ernie?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Brian?
No.
Rob?
No.
Debbie is a no. So it's 3-2.
Microphone, go to Rob. so
Oh,
make the
sorry.
motion.
Sorry. Okay, we're skipping 2 and 3, we're going to section 4.
No, just even another, oh, no, never mind.
No, because do you want to make another motion to change?
Are we interested in another motion
On the first waiver
or
request.
denying the waiver?
You still have to go back to the original
Still
one.
need to take a vote on.
You still, if there's no other amendment, you have to go back to the original
Right,
waiver number 1.
so do you want to make, you want to amend it, or do you want to vote on it as it sits?
Vote on
Vote on it as it sits?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so the amendment failed 3-2. Now we're voting on
Hold
the
on,
first-
I'll make a motion on the first waiver request again.
okay,
All right.
go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve waiver request number 1, but modified to only count trees within the right-of-way and within the 30-foot buffer of the bordering, the borders of the property.
So we have another amendment on 1?
All right, so just to be clear, that's within the right-of-way, proposed roadway A, and a 30-foot buffer around the entire perimeter of
And
the
that's
affected area?
mature trees 8-inch diameter. That was counting only mature trees 8-inch diameter plus.
Second?
All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
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 Okay, now we're voting on Brian's amendment.
Sorry, what was that vote? I got these three votes.
That was it.
You just voted. We just
voted.
You just asked for a vote, Madam Chair.
Oh, we're voting and you're amending the original.
That was voted on tonight, and I made a new motion, which was
In
seconded.
my notes, Madam Chair, who
Yeah.
seconded Mr. Hatch's motion?
Joe?
Yep.
Okay,
And what
so
was the
we're,
final vote on that? first
So we
one?
need two more
5-0.
votes.
we need to go
Debbie and
to,
Rob, what's your position on that?
no.
On,
What, my amended motion?
I was a yes.
You're a yes?
Yeah.
And I'm a no.
So it's 4-1.
4-1.
Okay.
4-1.
Thanks. Sorry, I was a little early.
4-1.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Can we move on to 4?
Yep.
Number 4, section 4.3.3, requirements to show location of species of proposed street trees and location of existing mature trees. Do I have a motion? Oh, I'm going to read that again. I'm getting waves from the back. Section 4.3.3, requirement to show location of species of proposed trees and location of existing mature trees. Do I have a motion?
You do. I'll make a motion that will mirror what Brian had just done, where we would do the right-of-way only with the 30-foot buffer, as opposed to the entire.
Okay, so we want to amend this again, so we have to vote to amend it, correct? Sarah?
No, it's just a motion.
It's just a
Just a motion?
It's just a motion. It's a
Okay.
motion on how to act for waiver request number 4.
I'll second Joe's motion.
Okay, seconded by Brian, in favor? Ernie?
Aye.
Joe is an aye,
Aye.
Aye.
and I'm a no. Okay, so now we have to vote on it? Or we voted on it?
We voted on it.
4 to 1, okay. Section 4.3.3, requirement to provide design computations of site drainage, water supply, and sewage disposal. Do I have a motion? What do you want to make a motion?
Motion to approve in accordance with what Mark Ryan has proposed and accepted, or
Okay. Ernie?
Is there a second?
you get a
Let's go
second?
Oh,
What was?
Joe made the motion. We're on number 5.
To approve according to, in accordance with Mark Ryan's,
This was about calculations. This wasn't a design requirement.
Provide design computations for site drainage, water supply, and sewage disposal. Are we leaving it as it is and voting on it, or is somebody amending it?
There was no like condition that Mark suggested on
No,
this.
there's nothing.
Okay, so Joe made the motion.
Do you want to
So this
withdraw
would
and
just be
rephrase?
waiving
I'll
this
require,
requirement as is.
I can take it as is. I vote to accept waiver number 5.
All in favor?
To
I
approve
need a
waiver
second.
number
Oh,
No
second,
second.
sorry. Second, do we have a second?
Second?
Will you second it?
I'll second it for a vote. Yeah, second.
Second, by Brian. Okay, we're voting on number 5. Ernie,
No.
Joe,
Yes.
Brian,
No.
No.
Rob, and I'm a no. So it's 1 to 4. Okay, number 6.
So he doesn't have to do that, correct?
So we're
waiver number
denying the waiver.
6.
We're denying the waiver.
That's the one on the cul-de-sac.
Number 6.
5 is drainage. 6, are we on to 6?
Yeah,
We're on to 6.
Yeah,
That's
so,
a dead-end street.
yeah.
Yeah.
So 6 is not technically a waiver request, but I think it would be helpful for the board to discuss and take a vote on it to give the applicant some guidance as to how they'd like to proceed on that. That's just my recommendation.
disfavor of these, but they're not prohibited.
Right.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ernie?
just on our last vote, Mr. Sheehan made a motion
Here,
to
Ernie, you
approve.
gotta have the mic. He made a motion to approve,
To approve, which means the applicant would have to do it.
and we said no.
And we said no, so he does not have to do it.
No,
No, it's the
because he
opposite.
has to do it.
Waiver was denied.
The waiver was denied, 1 to
I
4.
wanted to allow the waiver.
All right, then I'd like to, on the reconsideration on my vote on that, on number 5.
Okay, who was the only no? Joe was the only no vote. Ernie was the.
I was the yes.
Oh, you were the yes. So we had, so you changing your, can we reconsider?
So let's just take the vote again. So waiver 5,
Yep.
okay, is the request to waive the requirement to provide essentially drainage calculations, okay? So the motion, as Joe made it, was to approve that waiver request, which would mean that they do not have to provide the drainage calculations.
Correct.
And if we vote no, we say
They have to do it.
they have to do it.
Right.
Correct. So,
Under reconsideration, I'm
Does-
changing my vote to a yes.
does that second still stand?
Yes.
On number 5, we're back to number 5.
Number 5, under
just to-
under reconsideration, my vote on number 5 would be yes, that I approve
You're approving the waiver.
request.
Okay. So a yes vote is you're approving the waiver request. A no vote is
Denying it.
denying.
Can I just say
Okay, go ahead.
one thing on that is that Mark Ryan I'm following what he has said, and that he thinks that it would be fine to waive this, and I trust Mark Ryan, our town engineer, and I hope you would also say yes.
I vote against this waiver. No.
And I'm a no,
I'm a no to the waiver.
so we're 3 to
3 to 2.
3 to 2. Okay,
2 to 3, Madam, it fails.
or 2 to 3. So we got to change that to 3. Okay, now we're on number 6. Want to discuss prohibition on dead-end streets, not technically a waiver for local streets policy to discourage, but does not strictly disallow dead-end streets as a collector or arterial streets. You want to discuss number 6, board? I, for one, don't have a problem with dead-end streets.
Or do I?
Unavoidable.
Nor do I.
You're right, and I think cul-de-sacs are dated, but you've heard me say that many times before. And it's a waste of blacktop, but I'm gonna keep pounding that drum. Okay?
I would recommend somebody make a motion to approve the cul-de-sac as designed, again, just to give the applicants a chance.
Okay? I can't make that motion.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Joe,
Second.
approve the cul-de-sac as designed, seconded by Ernie. A yes vote is let them do the cul-de-sac. A no vote is no, don't let them do the cul-de-sac. Correct?
Correct.
Ernie?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm a no. So it's 4 to 1. 7. Do we want to discuss vertical alignment, 100 feet minimum between vertical curves, or does everybody understand what that is? Other than the audience. Required 5-foot, provided town engineer has recommended approval for this waiver request. Any questions? Everybody comfortable with that? Want any discussion on it? No?
No,
Yes?
just make a motion that I would allow for that.
Joe's making a motion to approve. A yes vote is they can do it, a no vote is
We need a second.
denied.
I'll
I need a
second.
second.
I'll
Second by Ernie. Ernie, what's your vote?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Brian?
No.
Rob?
No.
Debbie? No. So you got another 2 to 3. Section 8. Requirement to provide design computations of storm drain system related to new roadway. Any discussion? No discussion? I need a motion. I can't make it. Need a motion to vote on this. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve. I can see that Mark Ryan has okayed it, and I'm fine with that.
Okay. Second?
I'll second.
Made by Joe, seconded by Ernie. We're voting. A yes vote, do it. A no vote, no. On the waiver, correct?
No.
I say that backwards?
Opposite.
Opposite?
The opposite. So a yes vote approves the waiver request.
Right.
Yes vote approves the waiver request. A no vote is,
Will require them to provide the design copy.
okay. Ernie?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Brian?
No.
Rob?
No.
And I'm a no. Another 2 to 3. That's a flooding issue for me. Okay. And number 9 has been
Withdrawn. So
withdrawn.
No vote is needed on that.
Okay.
Can we recap so we know what you're giving us instructions on or what you tell us?
We can
Want us to do?
recap, and I'm making all of them stay within my little timer thing, so how about 2? Would you be happy with 2? 2, 3 minutes?
I'll speak fast. So
Okay, 2, 3 minutes.
on the counting of trees, the vote ultimately was that we will count the trees of a diameter of 8 inches or greater within the proposed right-of-way and within 30 feet of the borders of the property.
And
That-
within the proposed roadway,
Within the proposed roadway area. Yeah.
plus the right-of-way outside of it.
Are you counting all trees or just 8-inch
As far as
diameters?
the right-of-way outside,
Well, I gotta try.
that's
The
the town
motion,
property?
as I wrote it, was the right-of-way, proposed roadway A, and 30 feet.
Which right-of-way,
The
is
proposed
everybody?
new road, the
Is that-
proposed cul-de-sac,
Roadway A.
Dead end road.
roadway A,
Yes, that's the right-of-way you're talking about.
yes.
So around our proposed roadway and around the perimeter of the property. So two counts. Yeah, and that applies to number 4 also.
Correct.
Okay. On number 5, you do want us to provide the drainage calculations, and am I stating this correctly, Brandon? Right? Number 5, drainage calculations, as normally required for what we're proposing here. We understand that. On the dead-end streets, not really a waiver, but to get the sense of the board, for something sometimes disfavored, you approve that as designed, the cul-de-sac. On number 7, the vertical curve, apparently you want us to do it according to the letter of the regulation and not what the town engineer had suggested.
Show that graphic.
I think I'm confused by that.
It's already been voted.
The vertical.
We want you to, well, you got a no vote, but
Yeah. Well, Mr. Ryan, I think, was satisfied with what we had given.
okay, but we're not gonna do it anyway. We're not building it anyway.
I didn't say that.
You voted no.
You've already voted.
Yeah,
So, yeah, Mr. Ryan.
He just
was
wants to know
good
what
with the
we
double
voted.
catch basin. Well, we did submit a graphic that shows what the alternative would be to conform, and it's just a dipped road into the middle of the property. So it's not
Satisfying.
much, so.
Does that change?
Want to make sure that,
I'm not, wouldn't change my vote, but
but we have a graphic that shows it. It's a sketch that we show the graphic. to.
So-
But
Mr. Ryan wants the 2 catch basins and, no, vice versa.
So we had originally just shown 1 catch basin on either side of the roadway, and with the design that we had provided, he suggested adding double catch basins, so 2 catch basins next to each other, and he was satisfied with that.
So, Madam Chairman,
Mm-hmm.
by your no vote, you
said
basically,
no to what
you're
Mark
you're
Ryan
going
put in.
again, Mark,
Got it.
town engineer had looked at this and with the applicant had come up with a plan on this particular waiver that was satisfactory to Mark Ryan about the catch basins and the drainage, and he felt comfortable with it. By your no vote, you're reneging Mr. Ryan's recommendation and going back to what's in the subdivision control, and basically, that's what you've gone against Mark Ryan's recommendation.
Right,
So
but
just,
we're not building it anyway.
okay, just so you understand the consequence of the vote.
I do understand.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Just want to be clear. So you want us to go back to what the subdivision rules and regs say in designing under numbers, that was number 7, okay? And on number 8, you want us to provide the storm drain calculations on the new roadway. I know that Mr. Sheehan had referred to Mr. Ryan's report, but again, that was not acceptable to the majority, so we'll provide those calculations also in compliance with the regulations. These are all application matters. You're asking us to provide more detail in the application than we would think would normally be required, but that's okay. That's why we're asking for this clarification,
Okay,
all right?
that's it.
So,
No?
so I think we understand. Are we clear on it?
Is there continue?
Yeah,
date
do
that
you want
works?
to make a motion
I'll
to
make a
continue?
motion to continue, but this obviously is going to take some time on your end, so
Yeah. Well, I want to find out from these folks what that would be. Because the meeting schedule, Ms. Dixon, the meeting schedule is the 5th or and then the 26th?
5th, the 26th, and February 2nd are the next.
So what do we need for time? Can we do this by January? January 5th?
You gonna be okay with the holidays and everything in there?
January 5th is definitely.
Yeah, we,
Just don't forget too, that if you're providing, if I may, Madam Chair,
Yeah, please do.
you're going to need to submit calculations that will then need to be, this is new technical content that will need to be reviewed by town staff. So you'll need to submit at least a week prior to the planning board's meeting. And with the holiday, I think the 5th is a little ambitious. So either the 26th or February 2nd, I think would be my recommendation.
Okay. Madam Chair, my motion will be to continue the public hearing until January 26th at 7 o'clock at the Norwood Senior Center.
Okay.
Second.
Seconded by Brian. All in favor of continuing the public hearing till January 26th? Aye. Unanimous? Thank you.
and that was also, I didn't hear it, but maybe I missed it, also on Google Meet as part of the motion.
Always, yes.
Yeah, do we have to say that?
I
Yeah, you should.
think we should.
Okay.
So is that,
Yeah.
for the record?
For the record,
Was the
it'll also be on
motion to continue to
January
January
26th,
26th,
here at the Senior Center and on Google Meet,
at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That
And-
was a 5-0 vote?
Yes, and Sarah, we're gonna keep both sets of plans that we've got now? Or we're gonna get all new ones again?
I would recommend holding on to this until the hearing closes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, next up on the agenda. Thank you, gentlemen. Is public hearing 55 Lennox, special permit and site plan review. And who is our treasurer, who's our secretary? Who reads the public notice? Are you, is that you or Brian? Do we have to read a public notice on this, Sarah?
There is a public notice, yes.
You have it? Is it you or? Okay. Rob's gonna read the public notice.
All right, notice is hereby given that the planning board of the town of Norwood will hold a public hearing on December 15, 2025 at 7 p.m. at the request of Lennox LLC regarding property located at 55 Lennox Street, map 4, block 2A, lots 2 and 4, Norwood, Mass. 02062 in the Central Business Zoning District and MBTA Communities Multifamily Overlay District, Norwood Depot. The hearing will be held at the Norwood Senior Center, 275 Prospect Street, Norwood, Mass. 02062, and will also be available for remote participation via Google Meet. You can also dial in using your phone, 1-401-646-2388, PIN 517-092-088. This application requests a special permit pursuant to section 9.5.6.b, bonuses, stormwater and heat island bonus of the Norwood zoning bylaw for 1 story of additional building height in exchange for enhanced storage and treatment of stormwater runoff and heat mitigation. The board will also conduct site plan review pursuant to section 10.5 for redevelopment of the property for multifamily housing with associated landscaping and parking area improvements. Any zoning relief that may be required in adherence to the Norwood zoning bylaw shall be considered by the board. Interested persons are encouraged to attend the hearing and make their views known to the board. Written materials from the public may be submitted to the board by emailing comdev@norwoodmass.gov no later than noon on the 3rd business day before the hearing. Plans are on file with this application in the office of the planning board and may be requested by emailing comdev@norwoodmass.gov or by calling 781-762-1240 Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Thank you. The applicant, Mr. Shelby.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
All right, good to be back. At our previous meetings, it became abundantly clear that parking was a central concern for both the public and the planning board. Well, the overall building design was well received. The chair's comment on September 8th summarized the issue perfectly. We like the project, but we don't like the parking. I want to assure you that I heard those concerns clearly and have taken concrete, meaningful steps to resolve them. Tonight, I am presenting a revised parking plan that fully complies with the town's zoning requirement of 1.1 spaces per unit, providing 106 parking spaces for the proposed 96-unit building. To achieve this, I have incorporated parking lifts into the proposed plan. Parking lifts are not experimental. They're a well-established and reliable solution used in hundreds of installations across Massachusetts, including communities such as Walpole, Wellesley, Revere, Brookline, Winchester, Newburyport, Gloucester, and Nantucket, to name a few. They've been used across a variety of building types and are especially common in multifamily buildings.
Can't hear him? He's tall. We got to get that mic up there.
Most are unattended systems, operated independently by the users, just as they would be here. The proposed lifts are permitted by the State Board of Elevator Regulations and are not reviewed at a local level. State law, not local law, requires that a licensed elevator company submit all permit applications. All installations and ongoing service must be completed by certified professionals, and each lift undergoes annual inspections, just like every other elevator in Norwood. In short, these are safe, regulated, and professionally maintained systems. A nice feature of the lifts is that they have battery backup. In the event of a power outage, a tenant will still have access to their car. Another feature of the lift system is that each comes with a secure lockbox with storing keys so that both users sharing a lift always have access to their vehicles. Like before, the project includes 4 stories of residential homes.
You still can't hear him?
We'll move up.
Okay.
Like before, the project includes 4 stories of residential homes over 1 level of parking. The bylaw allows for 1 additional story in exchange for a development that both fully meets new development standards for stormwater in the Massachusetts Stormwater Handbook and uses a highly reflective materials on 75% of the roof area. This project not only meets the bylaw, it exceeds the bylaw. I will now ask Scott Henderson of Henderson Consulting Services to speak in detail about the stormwater design and its compliance with the bylaw.
Good evening. For the record, I'm Scott Henderson of Henderson Consulting. I'm the project civil engineer. This is a new application. The last one was withdrawn without prejudice. So just to get some items on the record, I will go over the site development a little bit. It is effectively the same plan that we saw last time. From a top down, it really looks like there's no change. We just have this stacked parking to provide that additional parking space count. Can we go to the layout plan? Landscape plan will work too. All right, this lot is about a 37,000 square foot lot on the west side of Lenox Street. You all know it pretty well. It's located in the Central Business Zoning District. And the reason we're here, it's also in the MBTA Communities Overlay District. The proposal is to demolish the buildings on the property and construct a 96-unit apartment building. That footprint for the building is about 24,000 square feet and has parking garages on either side at street level. You'll note 3 curb cuts on the plan, 1 on either side. Those curb cuts enter each parking garage, 1 on the left, 1 on the right, where we have covered parking, some of which include the stacked parking spaces that John referred to. There's also a 3rd curb cut in the middle that accesses a surface lot that provides additional parking, handicap parking, loading and unloading for deliveries, and things of that nature. It's generally the main access to the site. As John noted, the development fully complies with all dimensional zoning that includes setbacks, lot coverage, impervious coverage, and notably the 1.1 parking space per unit count. 96 units requires 106 parking spaces. We do provide that in combination with the garage spaces, stacked spaces, and the surface spaces on that central parking lot. There is an allowance, as John noted, for an additional story if we meet requirements for stormwater management for new construction and provide reflective roof covering. I'll read that directly from the zoning bylaw. One additional story of height may be granted by special permit in exchange for a development that both A, fully meets new development standards for stormwater in both the Massachusetts Stormwater Handbook and Norwood Conservation Commission stormwater regulations, and B, includes one of the following additional components. We've chosen to use a diffuse, highly reflective material on 75% of the roof area. That one's easy to check off. The building plans that are submitted show that more than 75% of the roof will be covered with a reflective white coating that is intentionally designed to mitigate heat island impact. We meet that standard. Backing up to the stormwater requirement, there are 2 items that need to be met. We need to meet new development standards for the Massachusetts Stormwater Handbook that's generally perceived as the state regulations for drainage. Those normally would not apply to this project as it is not within a wetland jurisdiction, but the town's regulations ask that we do so. There are 10 standards for stormwater management promulgated by the state. They include no untreated discharges from the site, attenuating peak runoff rates and volumes so that all storms after the development don't produce more runoff leaving the site than occurs now, providing groundwater recharge, collecting some of that stormwater at the surface and allowing it to percolate into the ground, water quality control, capturing and treating that runoff before it's discharged anywhere. That's treating solids suspended in that runoff, phosphorus, and other items. Ensuring that you're not developing a land use with a higher potential pollutant load. We are not. This is very typical. That's a very specific thing. No discharge to critical areas. We are not discharging runoff to any critical areas around from an environmental standpoint. And then a few other items, construction period, pollution prevention plan, and post-development stormwater management plan, which we've provided. The local regulations require for new construction, which normally would not apply, but we are going to meet these standards for that additional story. For new construction, stormwater management systems for new development are to meet minimum requirements of the general permit for stormwater discharges for small municipal separate storm sewer systems in Massachusetts. The MS4 permit, you may have heard that term, that's what that is, including 2 things. Removal of 90% of the average annual load of total suspended solids generated from post-construction impervious runoff. That's sediment and runoff. You see runoff going down the street, it has dirt and grit in it. They want you to collect, treat, and then discharge that into an infiltration BMP. Normally,
90% of it.
90%. We are providing 100%. We're capturing runoff from every impervious surface on this site. This drainage system proposed has deep sump catch basins with hooded outlets routed to a structure within an infiltration system that contains all suspended solids. It cannot leave. It has to be maintained every few years. You clean it out, but this is a pretty standard thing. It's called an isolator row. Can you go to the next sheet? You'll see this blue sort of grid-like thing underneath the parking lot there. That is the subsurface infiltration system. All runoff from the entire site will enter that system. One row of that, those chambers, those dry wells below ground, are sealed such that it collects all that sediment and it cannot go anywhere. And then the excess water runs off into the remainder of the system. It is completely contained.
Okay, I had a question on that because I was looking at that, and it's under the parking in the front of the building, like the courtyardy thing?
Yep.
How do we get to it?
There's a manhole. So the main manhole that discharges to that isolator row is a 4-foot standard manhole that a person can get into. And then there's a 24-inch pipe exiting that, which is unusually large, but allows you to get into that manhole, get into those chambers. You push a jet down in the end and you pull it back, and then you take a Vactor truck and you suck all that sediment out. That's the typical maintenance standard. Details of that are provided in the stormwater report submitted to the town.
You don't have to get in the weeds with it, but I'm looking at thinking,
Yeah.
how are,
It's
it's
below
kind of a
grade.
sub,
This
it's
is
below
not
grade.
uncommon. If you go to any parking lot for any major development around Legacy Place, Patriot Place, these chambers are located below pavement. It's a very common practice. This is nothing unusual. We're providing an unusually large system to meet this additional requirement.
What would, you're saying you're supplying an unusually large, what would this system be able to maintain? 180 unit building?
I'll get into that. Let me finish where I was
Okay.
going, and then
All right.
I'll touch on that. So that was the 90% TSS removal requirement. We're providing 100%. Calculations are provided for that. The other item is 60% average annual load of total phosphorus generated in runoff. It's a common thing now that river systems in the area are subject to excess phosphorus. It's a problem. We're asked to treat that. We have to remove 60% of that total phosphorus generated. We remove 91.7% of the annual phosphorus load from our runoff, far exceeding what's required. So we meet those standards. Those are the ones established to get this bonus for an additional story. I'll add one more thing along the lines of what the chair asked about, what our system can handle. This infiltration system has 19,000 gallons of static storage. That doesn't account for any water that seeps into the ground as more is flowing in. Those chambers store 19,000 gallons of runoff. To meet the bare minimum requirements, if this was not a new development project, it could probably be half that size, and that would meet all the design standards. Systems are designed for two things: the amount of impervious surface that's discharging into that system and how quickly that occurs based on how big the site is. It's hard to say how many units or what size system or you would need for various, it's why I'm engaged as a professional engineer to do this. But I can say that this system is probably double the size it needs to be to
why?
meet those standard requirements.
Why are you doing that?
Because we want the bonus for the additional.
So you're doing the double size of it to get the bonus?
And there's concerns from the neighborhood that we heard loud and clear from everybody about drainage issues in that area. It's not an uncommon occurrence for there to be water under the bridge and very heavy rainfall events around the corner there. And so, say in a 2-year storm, I took a couple statistics from this design. A 2-year storm will dump 3.4 inches of rain in 24 hours. Compared to the current condition of the site, we're going to reduce the amount of runoff leaving the property by 75%. That's significant. The requirement that is only that we don't increase the runoff. We're not obliged to decrease it.
Okay.
We just
All
can't
right.
make things worse.
Got it.
But we were asked to look at this in a wholesome way to understand issues for the neighborhood. Drainage was brought up. It's both required, but something that we should do responsibly. I'm putting my license on the line designing this, and so we put in an unusually large stormwater management system. That's my long-winded drainage explanation. The last thing I'll touch on, utilities in general are fairly straightforward for this development: sewer, water, electric, and those items. They're detailed on the plans, but there's nothing really of note. If there are specific things that anyone has questions about, I can answer those. I'm going to hand it back to John. He might have a few more items to discuss, and then we'll field questions.
Thank you. John?
Thank you, Scott. As I said at the beginning, the single issue that the board and the public consistently focused on, parking, has now been resolved. Tonight, I am presenting a zoning compliant, regulation compliant, community responsive parking plan paired with a redevelopment project that will transform a long neglected, blighted property into much needed homes for Norwood. We have met with every relevant town department and have incorporated all feedback received throughout this process. The proposal before you reflects that collaborative effort and the community's concerns. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions from the board.
Ernie? Wait, Ernie should get his own microphone. What do you think?
I don't need a microphone, that's people tell me.
I don't either, Ernie.
Some people do.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have a couple of questions for John, but before, I just want to, if I may, just read a couple of the comments from the departments that will, I think, will clear up a lot of the questions that are going to come forward. And if you indulge me for 1 second, I'm just going to read some of these that may clear up some answers. Okay, the requirement met. The proposal meets the requirements of the site plan regulations as well as the zoning bylaw. So it meets the requirements, number one. Okay.
Which one are you reading, Ernie?
This is a memo that I'm reading off of, I believe it's from Sarah on site plan review comments. And then it talks about the motor vehicle lifts, and I know a lot of people are gonna have questions about this.
Thank you.
The use of motor vehicle lifts or car stackers allows the applicant to provide the required amount of parking as established in the bylaw. The building commissioner has determined that these are legal parking spaces, and the plans include the additional fire protections the building and fire code would require for this technology. And as John had stated earlier, the state gets involved in this as well. Building and fire officials have done their due diligence and researched the permitting and code compliance review of motor vehicle lifts in other communities. Their determination are consistent with their findings on industry standards as well as their applicable building and fire codes. Review of manufacturer specifications related to code compliance becomes the purview of the building department during the building permit phase. The planning board's scope of review and site plan approval is limited to ensuring the technical requirements of the bylaw and site plan regulations are met. And that's just what I want the board, my board members to keep in mind. Our purview here is, do they meet the bylaw? We don't care what color they paint the building or anything else. That is not our jurisdiction. The original design of the structure included ample clearance in the parking garage to accommodate the additional lifts. So they have that, resulting in minimal increase in building height of about 2 feet. The proposed new height complies with the dimensional standards allowed with the density bonus. No waivers from the bylaw are being requested. And on that point, I just want to say, it doesn't matter what, if I think the building is too tall, too short, too big, too round. It meets the bylaw. If you don't like the bylaw, we change the bylaw, but the board has to go by the bylaw. If it meets it, we can't turn it down just because we don't like the color of the building. I do have it, and that's my point. I think hopefully that'll answer some of these questions about these lifts and if they're allowed and things like that. But I do have, just so we're sure, John, that you are not requiring or asking for any public parking lots to be used off your property. So you're not going to the Board of Selectmen saying, I need 15 spaces. Or you're not going to another business saying, can I rent your spaces? All your parking that is required will be on your premises, correct?
That is correct. The 1.1 spot is on my premises.
On your property. If somebody doesn't want to use a lift, if you have somebody who comes to your place and says, I really don't want my car on a lift or anything else, that is between you and that tenant, correct?
Correct, just like if a tenant wanted a pool or something I can't offer them.
Okay, so other than that, there are no waivers being asked of the applicant, of the board, and he meets the zoning bylaw, if we like it or not. If we don't like the 3A, if we don't like the height, if we don't like the waivers that's irrelevant. He meets the bylaw here. So that's really all I have to say on it. I can't see I would be hard pressed to find a reason that would hold up and in any kind of appeal that would not allow this to go through. So that's my comments.
Do you have anything?
I do.
Go ahead.
I had some questions about the stacking system. And I've been reading and hearing a lot of negative things about it also. I know we've been hearing it works, and you go and you do some looking around and you hear a lot of things, and it doesn't work. I guess, let me just ask you a few questions. First of all, you don't have anyone right now that you've chosen.
I do not, no.
Do you know how long it would take me to get my car off the lift every morning, and how long it takes me to put it back on the lift at night?
Again, we haven't gone in depth with regards to that, but we did ask some, and the 17 seconds seem to be what it takes to go down. Because a normal building process, what we do is, we want HVAC units, lifts, any sort of plumbing products. We go to bid after we get approval, because people won't give bid. But to answer your question, 17 seconds was the time it takes to get down.
What would be the whole process? I get down, I walk to my car, and what do I do?
I think it would depend on the person. For me, or for someone else in the crowd, someone not, I think it would depend on the person.
I'm just, the
If
one thing I'm worried about
I'd be
is
great.
if these things don't work out accordingly, or if someone is assigned one and then they get it and they get frustrated with it. And I've heard that's a big thing out there, where people who have these, and this is, been reported about different places around the country, and they get frustrated with it. And if they get frustrated with it, where are they going to just say, I'm not going to park there, I can't stand this thing, I gotta, every time I gotta get in my car, it's a hassle. It's not like, I know that you or I probably walk out our door, we're in our driveway, we drive off. And I'm just concerned about how long it really takes. Now, you got your 17 seconds, it seems pretty quick, but I'm just wondering where you heard that, and where do you get that information?
When I talk to different lift manufacturers, I ask the questions, what size car, what's the weight limit, the height things, the height of the car, how much space you need clearance. We got to make sure you put them into to the structure. So during that time, I asked those questions on what it takes, and that's how I got the answers. But I asked multiple manufacturers, and just to get my preliminary due diligence. I didn't set on an exact manufacturer. I could say, here's the lift we're going with. This is the exact specs. And it's tough for me to put on record an exact spec, but I don't know what that spec is with regards to who I'm going to choose.
I'm just looking generically, trying to find out, if these things are gonna work. If they don't work, I might say, gee, I'm not gonna park my car there, I'm gonna park it on the side street.
Well,
We don't wanna see that, and I understand, I'm glad to see that you did come up with a solution to keep everything within the building, and that's what I believe everyone should do, especially nowadays. I think 50 years ago, maybe they didn't, some of those buildings that were built a long time ago, wouldn't have had to do that because not as many people drove, and everything's changed now. So we do need to keep it, within the building itself. And I'm just hoping that this would work out also. But I just want to ask those questions, and I was hoping if we get a definitive answer on certain things, like what does it look like? You've got the top, and is it just the tracks that your car would be open underneath? If you had oil dripping, would it be dripping on the car underneath? Just like
a pipe in a garage is leaking, it'll drip on the car. Just like anything's leaking, it'll drip on a car. Like an HVAC in the garage, a fire suppression pipe in the garage, something would drip possibly. But it is, you drive onto, there's different ones. There's the flat stack ones. There's ones that have tracks that they're wide enough to get the car
You can't
on.
hear?
It depends on the unit. I think this is more of a building department question than it is to give you an exact. I don't have an exact lift spec'd out to say, here's the exact one that you have in front of you, to say this is the width of the platform. This is a 40-inch width or versus a 38-inch width. I don't have the answer because it's not part of the planning board's purview.
Well, I think if they're going to be, if it's not going to work out and they're going to be parking all over the road, I think it is, but.
I don't think so. I think if it doesn't work out, people would not renew their lease or they would request a service spot.
Okay, just another example,
Yeah.
I moved into one of your apartments,
Yeah.
and my wife, who always gets the new car, takes the bottom spot, which is, you got to do that, right, chivalry? Or self-preservation, I don't know. After 45 years of marriage, it could be either one.
Something's working.
Yeah, so I'm parked on top of the older car, 13 years old, and it starts leaking oil. I'm in trouble no matter what way happens if it's just got the tracks. It's just what I'm saying. And so I'm just concerned that you have a product out there and people are assigned, these lifts, and it doesn't work out for them, and they just start parking elsewhere.
But Mr. Sharon, when someone moves in there, they're gonna know, when you have a lease negotiation, they're gonna say, what's the parking strip like? And I'm gonna say, oh, we have this type of parking and this type of parking. Are you comfortable going on a lift? If they are, they'd say, yes, I wanna choose that lift. If they're not, then I'll say, we have a service spot. Just like anything, I can only provide, if they want a pool, I don't have that, I can't provide that. And they make a decision when they move in. So it's one of those things that's tough to go through all the hypotheticals, because in the end, just like any business, they're gonna get together and talk before and come up with a solution on what they wanna do, like how a tenant wants to live, how they wanna, do they wanna be on the first floor or third floor? Do they wanna be lift or surface parking? Do they want covered parking? Do they want non-covered parking? These are all things that we'd offer, just like the amount of bedrooms or the amount of bathrooms. And they would decide, I want this, I don't want that, and I want this. And I can only give them what I could offer them.
Right, I'm just wondering when you get to the situation where all the ones without lifts are taken, and they've got to take lifts if they're gonna move in. Or maybe they think they can handle it, and then after a while, it doesn't work out, and they say, this is for the birds. It's
Yeah,
taking me
it's-
10 minutes to get my car every day and to put it back, and I might be in and out several times during the day. I can't take it, it was driving me crazy. So they say, I'm gonna go park on the side street.
It's not likely, but anything's possible, right? Regardless, if they don't like it, they would send an email and say, hey, I don't like this, could I move spots somewhere else? If I don't like it, can I leave the lease? These are all normal business items we could address on a one-off basis with each customer. But it's tough to go through hypotheticals of what a tenant will want and how they'll react and what they think and how they want to go up and down. And you may have someone that uses that lift and they're only using it once a month because they commute to work in Boston, they use the train. We don't know. These are all hypotheticals that we will get to and address as they come. But to address your question, we will make sure that people that live there park there. We're not gonna go around and ask them parking like you said anywhere else, like they asked earlier, and we're not gonna use other public lots, we're just gonna use the lifts there.
Okay, I'll let someone else take over. make
We
a
want to
question.
take Brian's next, but we want to take online your architect?
Go ahead. Go, Mike.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. I apologize for not being at the meeting. I had a little knee replacement on Friday, and I thought I'd be able to show up, but my wife said no.
Where do we have him? Do we have him on there somewhere?
Yeah, his camera's not on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I don't have the camera on because I'm laying in bed.
Oh, not good.
Anyway, I just wanted to, I have designed 4 buildings with stackers as far away as 20 years ago. I think one of the questions, the speed, yes, it is a detriment. It does take time. It's not 15 minutes, it's not 10 minutes, but it's 2 to 4 minutes total operation. As far as oil, the oil is contained in a pan that would, if it's dripping down, it would be contained in a pan. The companies that we're looking at are companies that install these around the world. They're not just, it's not just downtown Boston. It's not, luxury condominium projects. They're everywhere because land is valuable. And this is an alternative parking situation that is used over and over again. And I wrote a response, a very detailed response to, I think, a neighbor's concern. And I think I responded to everything in a positive way. There wasn't one thing, there's some comments about Boise, Idaho, and Santa Monica, California that I really can't speak to about people not being happy. I think if you do ChatGPT, you're going to get any kind of response. But it's a good alternative. It's something that I had suggested early on. They are very expensive. That's the other thing. These are expensive, and they're well maintained because they have to be. They have to be inspected every single year by the elevator board. So
I'm just nosy. What's very expensive?
Anywhere between $10,000 and $17,000
For one double?
for one unit, for
Okay.
one single unit.
Okay. All right.
So anyway, I just wanted to jump in. I'm sorry again that I cannot be there.
No, we understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's what you asked for, the 17 seconds, that's where I got it from. This is one example we have looked at.
Okay, Brian's up.
So I spent a better part of Sunday trying to educate myself on other towns with regard to these stackable lifts. I looked initially at Walpole and Dedham and Westwood, and there were some provisions, some were silent. In looking at our own bylaw, and I'm hoping that Sarah, somebody can educate me. So under the general regulations, there's references to lifts on section 6.1.7, which says, in the BPH district, certain types of special parking types and standard under 9.4.13.5 shall be permitted, including stacked and valet parking, tandem, etc. So looking at that provision, which it looks like 13.5 doesn't exist, it references stacked and valet parking and says the planning board may allow valet or stacked parking in a mixed-use building if an attendant's present to move vehicles. If stacked parking is used for required parking spaces, a written guarantee must be filed with the town, etc. It seems to be, it's described to us that this is a non-issue, that there's no waivers being requested. But we're 100% certain that stacked parking is allowed in this particular overlay, just as is?
Okay, I'll answer that. That is a building official's determination to make, and the building department.
John, if you, I know, we've got, could you speak up just a little?
Oh, sure. That
Thank
is a building determination to make, whether a stacker counts as a spot. It's not a planning board determination. And the building department, Mr. Pelletier, made that determination already through his research of the zoning code.
Sure.
And he submitted a letter to the planning board saying that.
I'm just trying to ask out in the open here for the record, if there's an opinion to be had. But moving beyond that, your original, I mean, I've told you before, I like this project, I like it. But the parking was a major issue, and I'm sure we'll hear a lot about it. The original proposal had no assigned spots whatsoever, right? It was first come, first serve, if memory serves. The absolute original first time we heard about this.
Correct.
Okay, and then there was a lot to be said about parking, and that was adjusted. Here, these stackers, to sort of build upon what Joe said, there's a lot of logistics and sort of hassle that goes along with these. Is there any intention, or even for that matter, even if it starts out this way, if you can maintain it, or if we can condition it, but like for example, will the two vertical spots belong to one unit? Like, or could it be just luck of the draw, whoever can?
So I think mostly that's the goal there, is to have a 2-for-1 spot. But we're not going to lock in at that because the lifts do allow to have shared access amongst different units with a lockbox.
Sure.
So, but the goal is in general, right? The more the bedrooms, the more cars in those units. Versus a 1-bedroom is more likely to have 1 car, not 2 cars, and 2 is more likely to have 2, not 1. So in general, they're most likely going to be used for the 2-bedroom units.
Okay, so in all likelihood, those two, the two spots, the higher and lower, or however you describe
Yeah,
it, would
that's
belong to
the
one
goal.
unit and it would be assigned. So
Correct.
whoever signs a lease with you knows that, yeah, they get 2 spots, but one of them,
Is stacked.
it's like being blocked in the driveway.
Correct. It's just like tandem parking when you block in. Exactly, same thing. You gotta go to your wife, spouse, whatever, roommate, and move the car and go back in.
Okay, that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Rob, you got anything?
Let's see, this will be inspected by the state elevator. How does inspection go on this and maintenance? I had some insurance questions, liability,
Well, just to start, yes, the State Board of Elevator, it's a lift, so it's inspected annually by them.
Okay.
You get a lift certificate to say it's been inspected, and they're very good about making sure you get inspected, and if not, there are severe fines.
Okay, so it's defined and it's got
It's
a
defined and done by the state.
maintenance.
Correct.
So I did have similar questions to Joe and Brian about convenience, similar concerns. But you're saying basically the market will play out if people don't want to deal with, my wife's car is on top, I gotta go, she's gotta go, whatever. They'll just have to deal with that through either renting or not, or going somewhere else.
Exactly, but also I still have surface spots that are available. So if if I need more if I need more spots, the lifts are there as a bonus. I still think my original purpose behind this, I don't think we're gonna be using all the spots, because I think being in the train and transit area, we won't use them. But if we, now that the board and the public wanted more spots, and they wanted the 1.1, I added them in.
Yeah. Let's see, and did you say you were providing backup power, battery backup?
Correct, the
or-
lifts come with
so
battery backup, so you're not forced to not have access to your car during a power outage.
That was a concern also.
But not for nothing, the battery backup one, I was curious, and I went to Norwood Light and requested some information on how Norwood, how we do in power. Do we lose power a lot? From Mr. Borisi, I asked him how, in that area of town, how often do we lose power? And over the last 5 years, they've only had 4 feeder outages in that area in the last 5 years. The average time of power of those 4 times is 1 hour. And the longest power outage in the downtown area near Manhattan was 1.5 hours. So my point behind that is yes, they do come with battery backup, but it's one of those things, is it possible versus probable? It's possible we lose a lot of power, but it's probable that we're not going to lose power that often.
Yeah, we have an excellent light
Fantastic light
department.
department.
Yes, very good, very good. Best in the country, I'd say.
I agree.
So we got the inspection, we've got, I'll defer.
Okay. For Christ's sake. Hang on, thank you. Ultimately, this is the landlord's problem. It's not our problem to make sure they're inspected, or that they work, or that the electric goes. Ultimately, it's the owner of the property's problem. What I feel is important from the board's perspective is that if it becomes your problem, it becomes our problem, because then the cars are out on the street. If your tenants don't like the lift, this isn't the South End, okay? If they don't like the lift and they don't move out, it becomes our problem. That's my concern with lifts. I think that's kind of the general. I get that you think, you've solved the problem. It's a good solution. But if you're in the South End, you buy this spot for $500,000, but you don't have any other options. If you're in Norwood and you get sick of pushing the button, or you're in a hurry, well, I'm only going to run in for a few. So ultimately, yes, it's your problem. If they don't work, if you have an accident, if whatever, I don't want it to become, and I'm sure you don't either, but we can't, it's not just a hypothetical, John. We want to make sure this, we don't make matters worse. It is a blighted piece of property, you're right, but we're trying to do the best we can. Everybody's going to leave here a little unhappy, because, again, all the questions we have, the same stack, I have questions for our building inspector. You can't get a certificate of occupancy if these get approved until the stackers are in. Would that be correct?
Are you directing that to me?
Yeah,
Do you want me to answer that?
I would love that.
You want me to answer all your questions at once?
Yeah. John, I'm going to give you a break and we're going to move. Okay?
Gary Pelletier, Building Commissioner, Town of Norwood. I was sitting so quietly.
I know, but I've had my eye on you since you got here.
I know. So if your question is, would I withhold a certificate of occupancy until we withhold a certificate of occupancy until project is 100% complete, which would include parking, fire protection, elevators, any hoisting equipment. This is, as Mr. Shelby pointed out, regulated under the state building code. Under 780 CMR is a reference code for 524 CMR, which is the elevator code.
Okay, but it's new to us. It's new to me.
I understand that, but
So I'm just
This
asking the
isn't-
question because I don't know.
to his point, this isn't a zoning matter, this is a building code matter, which is actually exempt
Which would be my next question.
Okay, it's exempt under zoning to regulate or restrict the use of materials that are regulated by the state building code.
Okay,
So
Okay.
whether we like it or we don't, and I'm speaking as the board, it's not something that the town can regulate under or restrict under a zoning bylaw.
okay, that's where we're trying to get all the questions out. So my question is, because we've read this, Brian's read this, could you tell me what section of the zoning bylaw permits stacked? Because stacked is different to me than tandem.
Well, there's, to Mr. Hatchie's point about the other sections of the town, where it references stacked and tandem parking. If you look at the diagram that's there, those are stacking, not vertical
Close.
stacking.
Oh, sorry, I took my little things out.
You took his little things
Those
out.
are basically putting multiple rows and multiple columns of cars in a row without a drive aisle. That's what is referred to
As
in the
tandem.
BPH as stacked parking.
Okay.
This is vertical. This is one car on top of the other, which is far more akin to tandem parking, which means one has to move to get the other one out, whether it's nose to tail or on top of each other. And that is not to, I think, Mr. Hatchie's comment about, or maybe Mr. Sheehan's comment about, it's no different than if you have two parking spaces, one in front of the other, one in the garage. I have the same arrangement where I live, where one car goes in the garage, my car is usually the last one in. If my bride needs to get out, I'm moving.
Can I
That's a domestic issue, as
So-
opposed to an issue that a board, I think, would have to tackle.
So is it your understanding that the bylaw is silent completely as to vertical parking?
It doesn't restrict it, it doesn't exempt it. The state Mass General Law exempts the use of a material that is or structure that is regulated by the state building code. And that's what this is.
Okay.
Could you say that again, please?
I will read to you directly from Mass General Law 40A, Section 3. No zoning ordinance or bylaw shall regulate or restrict the use of materials or methods of construction regulated by the state building code.
So you're saying the stackers are materials?
Correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Just like the elevator that's in the building is regulated by the state building code. Just like the fire protection in the building,
Okay, all right.
et cetera.
But those are not new to us. This is new to us. So
It
that's,
may be new to us here in Norwood, and I appreciate that.
I understand. I
So I'm just
I use them all the time in the
facts.
South End in New York City, okay?
Yeah, I get
I'm
it.
not, I get out of town once in a while.
I know.
It's new to us.
Yep.
So the
understood.
questions, I feel, need to be asked.
Sure.
And,
I'm trying to help answer.
okay, all right. Again, it's not gonna be, it's gonna be the owners of the property's problem if they don't work. Okay, did you have any other, so,
Oh, yes.
Anything else?
yeah, hold on. Okay. And your contention is tandem is the same, it's in,
Tandem is designed, is described and diagrammed in the section of the
book.
bylaw that's referring to the BPH mixed use. It gives you a diagram showing two cars, nose to tail, and right next to it says stacked. And it's multiple rows and multiple columns of cars, which makes sense. It's more akin to long-term storage or long-term parking.
okay. My
Okay, so
other-
this is, there's nothing in our general requirements that references tandem or stacked parking.
It's not silent, but it's silent but not specific, or specific but not silent.
There's nothing that specifies it outside of that district.
And before, when we were dealing with the parking spaces, we
My
have the width.
comment that I made in reference to the other property at the other end of Lennox Street that was approved by this board for site plan,
That they were,
the Savagram
Yep.
property.
yep,
Utilized 24 tandem spots. Same problem, right? Maybe with the exception of the dripping oil. But somebody still has to move to get the inside car out. And that was approved by, it's just pointing out that the board approved a similar scenario for 24 tandem spots. They had a little bigger property, they had more surface parking room.
Right, I don't remember what the waiver was, that was too many years
It
ago.
wasn't
Can't
a
remember.
waiver, it was, they met the number of parking spaces.
By doing
But it
tandem.
included 24 tandem
Okay.
spaces.
All right. All right, I will have more questions, but I'm going to open, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. And we're going to open it up. Does the board? Go ahead. Yep, yep. Oh. You can be first.
I just got a question for you. If, you know, you do have breakdowns, you know, or maybe you will never have a breakdown, but that's a concern for some people. How long are they down for? Or what, are you gonna have some sort of contract, they're gonna be there within a certain time to fix it?
Absolutely, Mr. Shane. Just like if the elevator breaks down the building, if the HVAC breaks down, we'll have maintenance contracts with companies to fix that, you know, just so that the people aren't broken down for a long time. We do that with all mechanicals, whether it's HVAC, elevator, lifts, electrical. We have contracts so the tenants don't have to suffer any sort of long-term outage.
And most of these that you've been dealing with, are they right here in our area, obviously? They must
Yeah,
have to be.
they're all in that 128 belt, and they're all in this area. They have techs. One company said they had 17 techs, another company said they had a whole crew. So it's a very normal thing. And the state elevator board, they even said that they have a bunch of service companies they could suggest as well.
Have you heard anything about their response times on these things, or is that a question you've asked anyone? When something's broken down?
In general, I mean, I've never specifically asked the response time of a lift company, but in general, any contract we have for a professional, whether it's an HVAC, a plumber, electrician, an elevator company, their response time is really quick. We're talking within 24 hours, sometimes within an hour or two.
Right, thank you.
Last one?
Yep.
I'm just curious if anybody's aware of, there's no other example of these things being used in Norwood before now? I don't think. Ms. Belter? Oh, all right, thank you.
Debbie, you do have one person with their hand raised on.
Huh?
If you're going to public comment, there are people online, just don't forget about them.
Okay. I'm going to start in-house. We're going to open up to the public. Mr. Shelby, thank you.
My best on.
Thank you. I'm going to, if he wants to respond, any of the three of them, we're going to hold that till last, okay? So we'll let all the questions come out, and then you can respond to them all at once. Deal? Yep. And I've got my handy little egg timer. Mrs. Donahue.
Thank you.
Can you hear me, folks? Can you folks hear me in the back?
Yep, everybody's nodding.
Madam Chair, members of the Planning Board, I am Helen Donahue. I live at 1027 Washington Street in South Norwood. 6 weeks ago today, I had a mini stroke, and it's been very difficult for me to sit here for 2 hours, and that's why after I speak, I've got to leave. I've got to go home and make it there safe.
We appreciate your coming.
My daughter's here with me. This is like a Romeo and Juliet or a West Side Story for me, because I love both sides of the argument. And it was very, very hard to make a decision in this respect. But on one side, we have the people like Mary Coughlin and Charlie and their mother Julia and father Charlie and Michael, and who've taken care of the town all their lives. And on the other side, we have John Shelby and his father and his wife and family. And that's why. But this is still the United States of America. And there are all kinds of things going on in the government now that are not being very just. Here we have a compliance with the law. And we've always been a country of laws. And we have always, if someone complies with the law, then the law is supposed to protect them. We've had testimony here that says that he is in compliance with the law. And I don't like listening to the news anymore and listening about people being not given their rights.
Let's try to keep it in Norwood. You and I, let's keep it in Norwood.
Nevertheless, that's why we have to keep it in Norwood. When John Shelby's father came to the town of Norwood, he chose Norwood. And he started here in Norwood the planting of all of the flowers around town. He bought those flowers in expensive florist shops, and he and his workers from the car wash planted them. When John, who's before the town today, he was
I'm going to give you 3 more minutes, okay, crowd?
he was a child.
3 more minutes.
I'll talk fast. He was a child, and he was planting the flowers with his father and carrying on too. So we have a son of Norwood. Who could we trust more? If he says he's going to do it, he's going to do it. If he's going to screen, he has experience screening tenants. He'll have the knowledge whether or not someone would be willing to contend with a ramp on parking. He has the knowledge to see if they'd be agreeable to his way of life that he's offering. This whole problem was created by the Commonwealth, not the town of Norwood. Since 1927, we've had a wonderful zoning bylaw, and it's been the citizens who, by a 2/3 vote at town meeting, have voted each line of the law the way we wanted it. We were dumped on by the Commonwealth to have to, apartments by the railroad tracks. We had Windsor Gardens for 50 years. We have apartments all over town. And I go around, another thing, some of the apartment yards are not filled. Across from the hospital, not filled. Civic Teresa on the corner in South Norwood, not filled. And I told John in the beginning, go take pictures, show the pictures. But I just want to say that I trust the town of Norwood. I trust the board, and I hope that you'll be fair. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I did give Helen, out of respect, 2 timers full.
Sorry.
That's okay. I didn't forget everybody online. Next, Cheryl, you're up next. Anybody that wants to speak, hop in line, please.
Hi, Cheryl Doyle, 12 Sumner Street. I'm not going to do the emotional thing, because I think when we're deciding things in this town, I don't think it matters who's.
They can't hear you back there.
I'm not going to do the emotional who's lived here the longest stuff. I don't think it has to do with anything when it comes to the decision of any board, regardless who's the board. It has to be done on merit and merit only, and that's it. So I want to start with on those lists. When I looked at the plan, there are 25 spots that are actually do not have a lift over it. That's counting the courtyard and inside, and then the 5 handicap spots. The rest of the spots, 38 spots, have a lift up over them. So there are more spots with lifts than non-lifts.
37.
Oh, I counted 38.
38.
So what?
Math isn't my strong suit.
Okay, hypothetical on
Okay.
everything. What happens if there's an emergency in the middle of the night and the guy's on the top lift? How does he get down off that lift? I know that he says there's a key box, but would you trust somebody else with your car keys to move your car out and then put it back in? I know I wouldn't. Then what happens if somebody comes home drunk? You're dealing with the lifts. What happens to a young family that has a baby and they're on that top lift? They have to get their car down before they can load that baby
Time's up.
onto it. Can I have another minute,
Yes,
please?
you can.
So there's all those questions. And then there's the matter of their stormwater thing. I know it was mentioned of a 2-year storm. It's 2.75 in 24 hours. We normally get 100-year storms, which are more the norm than not, because a 100-year storm does not come every 100 years. That dumps over 10 inches of rain. So I hope the system can help it. I am not for this project. Oh, and by the way, he actually adds 3 feet to the height of the building, because without the lifts, the building's 52. With the lifts, it's 55.
Thank you. Okay.
Hi, I'm back again. Margaret Cole. I live at 75 Railroad Ave. As I stated before, I grew up on K Street, and I have family who still lives there. It's right between Manhattan Street and Railroad Ave, in that cute little neighborhood, I see that we have all sorts of traffic that cuts through there all the time. The street is narrow. We have fire apparatus that goes up there to the old age home. I don't even know what we call it now, but the ones that are in between Hill Street and Adams Street, that whole development right there. And this will add yet another 100 cars going up and down Lennox Street right there with the two banks at the end. There's plenty enough housing that's already around there. So I am totally against this. But also, when you look at the
Your time's up.
property-
How much more time do you need?
like a minute or so.
Okay.
So when you look at the, the plans, there's 5 feet on either side. So from me to you, on either side, and then there is 10 feet clearance from the back where there's all trees. If there's a fire, what's gonna happen? Like, how does the fire department,
We
get
just bought
to
a new
these
ladder
people?
truck. We just bought a new ladder truck.
That's awesome. But I'm telling you, for a fact that, my own family has had fires in our home over on K Street. Devastating, but we were able to get our brother out. There's still a lot of problems with this whole
Okay.
development
Thank you.
against. them.
Thank you.
Hi, Mary Coughlin, 1 Lennox Street, Norwood. And I would ask that any future person who speaks give their town as well as their street address, because I would imagine there's people who are from out of town who would like to comment on this.
Okay, didn't even think
Okay.
about that. Okay.
Okay, yep. First of all, there's only 9 visitors parking spots with this. Do you realize that?
Yep.
There's 3 handicapped, or 4 handicapped, and 9 visitors parking spots for 96 units. Okay? Then I question if there were ever traffic counts ordered.
We did not have a traffic study on
Well,
this.
there should have been. Okay. Front page, page T-1.1 of the plans. I don't know whether it's an error or intentional, where it says
pulled mine off.
dimensional requirements.
I pulled mine off. Okay. Go ahead, just, because not everybody has it. You can,
Okay. It says, side yard 5 feet.
Right.
Required. The planning code says 15 feet. It refers then to.
no, because this is in, tell me the mixed use
Where
overlay district.
emergency access is required, not less than 15 feet of unobstructed width must be provided.
This is in a different district. This is in the
The MBTA.
MBTA Communities Act. So the side setbacks are different.
Okay.
Yeah.
It also refers to there shouldn't be a fence or anything. The property between the public works yard and this property has a chain link fence. The firemen with their heavy equipment and uniforms. will
We're putting
have-
trees, there's trees in it. Is there a fence?
There is a fence. There's a chain link fence there.
Well, now,
Yes. You're going to take the chain link fence down
I
from the
think-
public works?
yes.
Okay.
Is it your fence or is it Public Works fence? I know it's not on the plan. We don't have a chain link fence on the plan.
It's existing.
Right, existing your property on town property. Okay,
It's on town property.
all right.
Okay.
Write that down, please, John, and answer it,
Yeah.
because we've got a whole line.
Okay. Was there a letter?
Your
written-
time's up. How much more time do you want?
Other people before me.
I know.
have-
Give 'em an extra
have
2
a lot
minutes.
of time. Was there ever
Hey,
a
I always
letter?
get her.
Was there ever a letter on file by the fire chief waiving this width allowance?
He didn't have to
5
waive it. They were within their 5 feet, is it MBTA, right, Sarah? Yeah, we had a letter from the, I think we questioned that before. It
Okay.
was- Thank you.
One other thing.
It's right here.
This was posted.
That was right here.
This was posted on your, I'd like to read a copy.
Okay.
This was posted on the planning department website by a man who lives in Dedham, who said the the project will have a minimal impact on traffic.
That's an application, isn't it? That's an application. That's where his work is.
He lives in Dedham, no, that's his residence that backs up to conservation land, and he said this will have no impact. He's a real estate agent.
Madam Chair, we can name who this is, people, because you can't just have that facts.
Yep. I have it. Do you have it? Okay.
Yes.
I gotta cut you off, and I'm gonna give you 1 more minute,
Okay.
okay? And I'm watching the clock.
This is a 3-story building across the street.
Yep.
This is what it would look like would you allow it. You say 5 stories, it's 3 feet short
You do
of
realize
6
this is
stories.
allowed by the MBTA thing?
I know,
Okay.
but you also realize this is our homes, this is our neighborhood. We will have to live looking at this for the rest of our lives.
I understand that, okay.
So, whatever you do, this will be on all of you, that this is the impact you will have on our neighborhood.
I completely understand.
I spoke to someone who designed these stack systems for 4 years, and he said they're not reliable. He got
Again,
out of
that's
the
gonna be the
business.
landlord's problem. That is gonna be hopefully it doesn't become our problem.
It
But we
will,
can't,
it will. And then the neighborhood will be impacted by these and one last
I
thing.
gotta cut you off. You've
One
had,
last thing, the height of the garage is 11 feet 4 inches. Most people now drive SUVs or large pickup trucks or whatever. They're 6 feet tall. You
you're in the
won't
building
get-
at the end of the street, right?
I'm sorry?
You're in the building
Yes.
at the end of the street, okay. Okay.
The condos and the townhouses are in front.
Yep,
Okay.
okay.
You
Thank
won't be
you.
able to get 2 SUVs in those stacked spots because they'll be taller.
Right, then you can't rent to somebody with an SUV. I completely agree.
All right.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Why don't you pull that mic up to you?
Can you hear me?
Perfect. It's not me, it's everybody back there. If you can't hear, please raise your hand.
All right, I'll try to be a little louder. My name is Patrick Sheridan, 67 Winter Street, Norwood. I want to speak on behalf of the younger generation and ask you to
Why is he
vote.
looking at us like that?
Ask you to vote in favor of this project. Like many of my generation, I've seen firsthand how the lack of housing in the housing inventory in Norwood has made it impossible for people of my age or younger generation.
Are you talking housing or apartments? Because currently there's 199 apartments available.
I do understand that, but I will say the cost, looking around at all these apartment buildings, it seems like the outrageous costs associated with it for.
Okay, no talking, guys, unless you can't hear me, please. Okay, go ahead, sorry.
So for many of us, moving out of our parents' homes and into homes of our own or apartments in this scenario feels out of reach. Not because we want to stay in Norwood or because there's simply not enough options or affordable options. I believe this project creates a real solution, adding housing in a location close to the train, within walking distance of shops and restaurants. And it's exactly what a lot of people that want to stay in the town need. Young professionals like myself who want to live independently in a community that we love and embrace a more walkable car optional lifestyle, it would benefit us greatly. It's not only good for our wallets as it adds more housing and it cuts costs, but it's also good for the environment. I believe it would be great for the town of Norwood. For those reasons, I ask that the planning board take this into consideration and vote in favor of the project on Lennox Street.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now you're gonna have to pull the mic down so they can hear
I
you.
know that, I figured that right away. Good evening. My
Good
name is
evening.
Linda Ippolito. I'm a lifelong resident of Norwood. I live at 123 Arnold Road. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you tonight in support of the proposed project at 55 Lennox Street. I'm not someone who automatically supports every new housing development, but what makes this project different is its location. It's ideally situated, surrounded by existing housing within walking distance to shops, restaurants, entertainment, and the train station. This is exactly the kind of smart, well-placed development that makes sense for our town. Housing costs in Norwood have become increasingly unaffordable for many residents. I truly believe that the most effective way to help bring those costs down is to increase our housing supply. This project is a step in the right direction, providing new homes in a location that can support them without putting undue strain on other parts of the town. For all these reasons, I respectfully urge the planning board to vote in favor of the project at 55 Lenox Street. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Susan Perry. I live at 767 Washington Street in Norwood. I'm here to ask you to approve the project for 55 Lenox Street. There's a housing shortage, we all know that, and prices have gone up. So many people need a first apartment, a scaled down retirement apartment. These would be perfect. At first, I was not in favor of it because of the parking. That's been resolved. It seems like everything else has been resolved, and I now think it's time to vote for it. I can't really see any reason. None of us want maybe more people in your neighborhood, but it's a reality. For those reasons, I hope that you would consider passing this project.
Thank you.
Craig Rickey, 585 Naponton Street, Town Meeting Member, District 8, which is this district. My question or my statement is about the current bylaws as approved by the Attorney General. The definition for a parking space is an area intended for parking of one vehicle, not two. Elsewhere in the bylaws, they mention various dimensions, length of the parking spot, the width. Nowhere does it give any third dimension for height. So I'm assuming, by my reading, it's a single plane at ground level, not two. From my reading, the stackers cannot be used. They can be used when approved.
Your time's up. How much more time
Are
would you
you
like?
kidding me?
No, I know.
How many minutes did you give me?
I gave you 3 minutes on the egg timer. How much more would you like?
At least another minute.
Okay.
The question is whether they can be used for the calculation of the 1.1 or above and beyond that.
Is that a question you want me to
Well,
ask?
I'm just
Bill?
saying, I don't think it should be used to meet the minimum requirements.
Okay.
Again, it doesn't meet the definition of a single car in a parking spot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that would be a question for Gary. Can I make a list for you and then after everybody's done?
You can, but it's asked and answered, but I'll address it.
Okay.
It's been asked and answered.
Back here, you're back here.
Okay.
Hi, Brian Palmetier, 18 Ridge Road. Mr. Pachakowski made a good stab earlier at addressing the main issue of parking. And what I like to do is kind of reframe that in terms of, how do you think of parking? With what I'm going to call the case of the disappearing parking spaces. If a parking space is ever unavailable, it
Speak a little louder, please.
If a parking space is ever unavailable, it fails to meet the bylaw. Traditionally, parking allows a driver to drive in and out of a space at will, except for, say, when snow removal is needed. So that's your traditional one car, on a paved lot, one car per spot. To prevent the disappearance of parking spaces, the lifts have to work. So far the applicant has provided reassurance with respect to electricity and backup and lock boxes for keys, so that solves that problem. But here are my remaining concerns and questions. Where are cars parked when being jockeyed? I'm assuming they're going to need another spot to pack a car into so that the other one can be brought down, and then that has to be pulled out so that the car can be then pulled back in and so forth. So where does this happen? Where are those cars put? Who is doing the
Your
jockeying?
time's up, but I'm giving you 2 more minutes.
Thank you. Who is doing the jockeying? Is it valet available 24 hours a day, or the tenants doing this to move each other's cars? Heaven forbid. What happens when the mechanical components or hydraulics fail? Is the applicant okay with the town finding them for every day a parking spot is unavailable because it's in non-compliance, not supplying that parking spot? And what are the risks of hydraulics, that hydraulics exceed temperature specs? The quick research I could do found that there are many of these hydraulic lift systems that were rated from 40 degrees to 120, which we're assuming they're going to be inside parking garages. I don't know how this is situated, so that would be one of the questions I have is how can we be sure that all these things are going to work? Otherwise, these parking spaces disappear and do not meet the zoning requirements. Thanks.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Cheryl Nardelli, 69 Willow Street. I know that's a really quick egg timer, so I'm going to speak really fast. Just for clarification, I know that Mr. Shelby had spoke about the parking was the main contender at the last hearing. It was also traffic, too, so just for clarification there. But one of my questions, height restrictions for the parking garage, for the lifts, if there are any parking restrictions for cars, trucks, what the depth of the parking garage will be.
Well, we've already, okay.
I don't know if that's been asked and answered.
Kind of, but, okay.
And then what happens if there is a car that needs to be towed?
It will fit a ambulance, I'm told, correct? The garage is
A
high
tow
enough?
truck, not
Right,
an
and
ambulance.
then
Yeah.
they have sent a truck that can fit in the garage, but it does fit an ambulance, right? Who did I ask that? Sarah, did I ask you that? If it's a panel van ambulance for the height. Did I ask you that? Okay, so it's a
So
panel
a
van.
tow truck can get in?
Yeah,
And then what happens if, for snowplow removal, or if snow gets into the lifts?
no, it's underground.
I
mean,
know.
It's undercover. Again, there's all these issues. It is the
Right,
landmark
and
problem.
those are my questions.
Yep, okay.
And to one of the last speakers, currently there's roughly 250 apartments available within the town of Norwood that range in price from $1,950 all the way up to $4,000. So I'm a proponent of housing in Norwood, just not an apartment advocate. So just to go on record, not a supporter of this project.
Okay, and
Thank
those numbers come from?
They come from Zillow.com, apartments.com, and rent.com.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Madam Chair, Jim Kirker, 128 Hill Street in Norwood. I think Steve Konechny is going to talk about this, but there are a lot of problems with the lifts. If you can Google it, you probably already have, but
She can't hear you, so
Oh,
yell
can you
into
hear
the
me
mic.
now?
Yeah, we only have one. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that. But my question has nothing to do with this. I think you might be too concerned with when they start digging the foundations and stuff like that, it's going to be a lot of rats released. I know this has nothing to do with this, but I'm just curious, has he contracted a control, and do they use poison traps? Because we've got a lot of birds of prey here, and birds of prey
Eat the rats, then the little birds die.
there you go.
Yes, we
So
don't
I'm
want them
just,
to
I'm
die.
just curious about, it's got nothing to
That
do
goes
with it.
in, that goes later on in maintenance and housekeeping.
Okay, so you don't know whether this is.
No, we will ask. I usually do. Could we not?
I would hope so.
That will-
Anyways, well.
I agree. We'd like that peregrine falcon to live.
We do. Thank you.
Okay. I see eye rolling out there. I want the peregrine falcon to live. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Adam Stivaleta, and I'm a resident of Norwood, living at 24 Greenwich Road. I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight.
Speak in, put the mic by your face, please. Yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight in support of the proposed project of 55 Lenox Street. Now that parking concerns have been fully addressed and the proposal meets all zoning requirements, this project is both practical and beneficial. It's smart planning that supports Norwood's future, strengthening our downtown, boosting local commerce, and enhancing our community for years to come. I respectfully ask the planning board to approve this project and help Norwood continue to move forward in a positive, sustainable way. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Thank you for staying within the 8 timer. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Jim Sullivan. I'm a lifelong resident of Norwood. I live currently at 78 Woodland Road in Norwood. After carefully reviewing the plans for the 55 Lennox Street, I strongly believe it should be approved. The new building fits well within the character of the neighborhood and helps address the urgent need for housing costs in our area. With the Norwood Hospital expected to come back online, we can anticipate another surge in need for lower housing costs in our area. With the demand for doctors, lawyers, and support staff, and nurses, actually, not lawyers, we don't need them. Support staff will all appreciate living walkable distance to their employment. So this project makes too much sense to pass up. In the past, when we have turned down a reasonable project, developers switch to like a 40B type of thing, and a lot of times it's not the better option, it's just what we kind of get stuck with after we turn down the first proposal, which is the better, but we fight for a reason, or for we think it's a reason, but it doesn't always work out. So with that in mind, I'd appreciate it if you would strongly consider approving 55 Lennox Street. And Mr. Sheehan, with your 13-year-old car leaking fluids everywhere, I'd rather be leaking on the lift getting collected than a driveway or around town and ended up in the environment.
Well, my question was, I didn't know if he had anything in between.
Right.
And my car actually isn't,
I know.
it was just,
It was the hypothetical.
Good afternoon. Good. Have we gone 24 hours?
We're back again.
Okay.
Tank Deli, 69 Willow Street, D7 member. I just want to say one thing. Tuesday night, the Board of Selectmen were at a meeting, and the public safety was there crying about the building that's going up here in this town. They are struggling right now to keep the manpower. They don't have the equipment. They were even talking about putting another station in this in Norwood. Okay? So I feel we should put the brakes on the building and let's digest what we have so we don't get buried alive in this town. Common sense. It's all right to build, but why are we always building these monstrosities?
Because the rule says you can.
I know, but you can say no to the rule too. We've already voted on 3 of them, 3 big ones. And you don't have to say yes to every single one that comes across. Because maybe next year,
Well, actually, if they meet the requirements.
maybe next year when it gets voted down from the state, we'll be in that position. When that 3A came in here, this town got so divided right now because all these developers come in here and they want to put a tuna fish in a sardine can. And we're letting them get away with it.
Well, you gotta call the state for that.
No.
We
This is the
can't
town
say-
of Norwood. We can
Okay.
say no to things.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Ann Makowitz, 24 Cross Street, District 7. Aside from oil pans, what about when we have blizzards and the cars are dripping salt and sand on top of each other? I also get the impression that basically it doesn't matter what we want or what we're saying. Our hands are tied by 3A, which is an atrocity for this town as far as I'm concerned. The town is too small for all of these apartments. If people think these apartments are going to be affordable, affordable as defined by the state is $2,000 a month, and that doesn't say where the stuff is included. We have too many apartments, and it's unfortunate that the state's cramming this down our throat.
Thank you.
Doug Jassett, 22 Andrews Street. My opposition to this project, as proposed, is because of its height, its density, and its aesthetics. The height should be a concern to the board and to our public safety departments, since our existing ladder truck is being held together with duct tape and bubble gum, and it was just approved for a new $3 million one, but that's going to take years to build. The board and the town of Norwood relinquished a lot of its rights by not contesting the MBTA 3A housing plan. Our town is already comprised of approximately 50% apartment units. Our schools are bursting at the seams, and if this project's approved at its size, it will only exacerbate the problem. The project engineer stated one additional story may be granted if two conditions are met, not shall be granted. Lastly, for decades, parking structures were not permitted in town, but since they are now, I've seen these projects that have these parking structures in Boston and other areas, and they are ugly. Let's keep Norwood a town and approve and build only projects with appropriate size and scope, which hopefully this project will become. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Judy Patton.
Could you tip that mic down to you?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Judy Patton, 1 Lenox Street, Norwood. I live in a very dense area, as you know, and I'll be right next door to the 55 Lenox project. I am against these stacks. From what I'm even hearing tonight, I'm more against the stacks. And I, for one, would never want to be relying on a car that's on one of these stacks. So basically, I'm here just to say I am against this project, and I hope it does not go forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dave Joseph. I live at 70 Pilgrim Drive.
70 what?
Pilgrim
Pilgrim?
Drive. I'm here to express my support for the development at 55 Lenox Street. Most of the views that I support have already been expressed, so I don't want to be redundant. But I assume more housing hopefully will drive the cost down, because supply and demand, if there's too much demand, the price will go up. If there's too much supply, the price should come down. The facility there is a structure, as we all know, is run down and outdated. Needs to be replaced by something modern, multifamily development, which is in the area already. I mean, it's ideally located, as we know, downtown for the train station. And as an old resident, I believe that this is exactly the kind of development our town needs right now. I urge you, the planning board, to support the proposal at 55 Lenox. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Crowley. I live at 150 Roosevelt Ave in Norwood. I've been there for almost 30 years. That is at the intersection of Adams and Roosevelt, which Adams leads into Lenox. I am up and down that street multiple times a day, every day. That intersection of Railroad and Lenox, as it is treacherous trying to get across. If there are Amazon trucks coming, if the train is stopped, it gets backed up, you can't even get out, you can't get down to the end of Railroad Ave. I understand what the state allows. I believe that the town does have some rights to mitigate that. I'm not opposed to increased housing that is needed, but there is a correct place and time for that. I just believe that this particular project is beyond the scope in terms of what that particular neighborhood is able to handle in terms of traffic and services.
Your time's up. Do you need another minute?
Just 1 minute. Just
Okay.
I really wasn't even going to comment on the parking aside from the need for more spaces, but it's somewhat disappointing to realize that the majority of the parking is dependent on those lifts, which seems to be a big question. And I just want to say that I am opposed to the size and scope of the project.
Thank you. Okay, we have two more and then I'll go to online. How many do I have, Sarah?
Looks like there's 3 right now.
Okay.
My name is Margaret Rasty. I live at 1 Lennox Street. Again, a 6-story building does not fit into that neighborhood. There are residential homes. There are other buildings in there. This is going to be like a wall there. It's going to look so out of place and so awful, it's going to be impossible. The other issue is Lennox Street is a very, very narrow street. When the developer built Lennox Village, which is behind one of the banks there, they did not allow those 18 units to exit onto Lennox Street. They had to go up and up and out onto Railroad Avenue. You have all these cars coming out of that building very close to the traffic lights. And right now, as I'm going down Lennox Street, I can only get through those lights if I'm the third car. It only lets 3 cars through at a time. This is a major, major traffic jam going to be there. Lennox Street, we have the fire department and the fire engines up there 6 or 8 times a day going different ways. You have to work around the trains and the other stuff. It's going to be a major impact on that neighborhood, and the people are not going to be able to move. It's going to be like living in downtown Boston. And that's probably where this building should be, in Brighton, okay?
Thank you. Now I've got 3 more people.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Allison Hines, and I live at 7 Hawthorne Street here in Norwood, and I'm here to speak in support of this program. While I understand that there's a lot of heightened emotions and hyperbole about this, I would suggest that this is a logical, common sense approach. I was here at the last meeting when the parking was discussed at length, and I think this is a sensible proposal and solution. It seems like Mr. Shelby has clearly done his homework on this. This is a project that is going to be led by somebody local. He knows Norwood, he cares about Norwood, and he has a proven history of doing right for Norwood. I would respectfully ask that you approve this project.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Christopher Gillis. I live at 11 Layton Road in Norwood. I also work at 61 Lennox Street, immediately next to where this project's supposed to take place. So I'm familiar with the area. And over the time I've been in Norwood, over 25 years.
Are you at the bank?
Yes.
You work at the bank?
Yes.
Okay.
Over the time I've been in Norwood, over 25 years, I've seen major developments in that area. None of which have been single-family homes, so I do think that this conforms to the area. And I've also seen new buildings been erected in town that I love the modern look, and I don't think I'm the only one in town that would like to see a new building placed there. Moreover, my concern is that we can have not just this project, but future projects that conform to all the laws. They're not asking for waivers, we're not asking for variances, and for some reason, on private land being funded by private money, no taxpayer money, and for some reason the project could still be shut down. That's what my concern is. Whether I agree with it or not, if it conforms with all the bylaws, it's not being publicly funded. I don't think that there should be any opposition to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this is the last gentleman before I go online. If anybody else wants to get up after that, please do right away, because then I'm going to let the applicant respond.
Mark Mahana, 60 Lennox Street. Commenting about the car lifts, and I'd like the board, before they make any decision, to at least go onto YouTube and watch a video of how these things work, because I was getting the feeling that some of you have never seen these. I don't believe the car lifts are going to solve the problem, because I heard the numbers being stated. There's roughly, there'll be 35 ground level spots with 35 lifts above them, roughly, okay? And then the remaining accessible spaces by all leave 30. I heard the comment made that for the 2-bedroom units, maybe those people will own 2 cars and they'll share those lifts in the space below, so that'll solve the problem. For a car to get above it, to get out, the bottom car has to be out. These aren't lifts that are gonna pull you forward. So if you are not people sharing, meaning living together, that means somebody in unit 4 and unit 10 is gonna have to make sure that the person below them is out so they can get their car out. It's not feasible. if you really think about it. Without I heard somebody make a joke about a valet. Rather sure there's not going to be a valet here. Really like the board to can think about this, because again, the impact on the neighborhood is people get fed up with it, and now they're suddenly parking throughout the neighborhood and causing the problem, which is what we talked about at the last meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go online.
Kathleen Flanagan?
Catherine Flanagan?
Is that what you said?
Okay. Catherine Flanagan?
Hi,
Hi.
thanks for letting me talk. My name's Kathy Flanagan. I live on 140 Railroad Ave, but I also own a property on K Street where my granddaughters currently live. So I've been a lifelong Norwood resident, and so I know the area very well. I grew up on K Street, and actually we used to swim in the puddles on that property there. So it does flood, under the bridge floods. So I heard that he is gonna put in some better pipes, but I still have concerns about that because it's still flooding. Also, I just really am very much concerned about the traffic. I try to get out of Norwood every day to go to my work. It's a big problem. I go to shop at Shaw's, big problem. But just as a grandmother, I am really concerned. They've put up so much multiple apartments in this area that you can't even move. The kids can't even play out in the street anymore. Not that you want your kids in the street, but you know, to ride bikes, they can't even get out there. You know, just the traffic from the condos or the new townhouses there going up the street. A lot, we get
Your
traffic
time's up.
from.
How much longer would you like?
Sorry?
How much longer would you like as your 8 timers up?
So the traffic from Avalon, they cut across to get up to, you know, the schools. Everybody knows getting the top of Railroad Ave to Lenox Street is a joke trying to get out of there. Very dangerous. We actually had somebody in the neighborhood get hit by a car at the bottom of Lenox, Manhattan Street a few years back. But I also am listening to everybody's addresses here who's talking in support of this.
I have to ask you to tie it up.
Huh?
I have to ask you to close it out. I have other people who are waiting.
I'm just
Please? Thank you.
talking about, I'm listening to the addresses of everybody who's in support of this. None of them live in the neighborhood. They're not even in a mile range of the neighborhood. So that's concerning. Everybody else who's opposing this lives in the neighborhood. I just want to say, somebody mentioned about cost effective, that they're happy that they're going to be able to afford the apartments. What are you talking about? Avalon is $2,900 for a 1-bedroom.
I gotta cut you off. We got somebody else waiting. You got 2 timers full. You got 2 8 timers full.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Thank you for your time.
I just want to wrap it up and just say, you know, in those lifts, take 2 to 5 minutes at best.
Okay. Thank you.
When I was waiting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's our next one, Sarah?
Definitely opposed.
What is it?
Andrew Jones.
Andrew Jones?
Hi, Andrew Jones, 8 Myrtle Street, Norwood. I, like many others in Norwood, care deeply about the environment, and if you care about building a more sustainable Norwood, this is the kind of development that we should be approving. In 2021, the Norwood Sustainability Commission drafted a list of goals for the town of Norwood. This list was geared towards building a more sustainable community in the face of climate change. Here are some of the goals that the commission drafted that would be advanced if this project is approved. Improve stormwater management in Norwood and ensure on-time compliance with Norwood's discharge permit. Decrease heat islands in Norwood. Protect water quality. Improve transportation and land use options that are sustainable and open to all. The way I see it, these goals are why the bonuses are in place to grant the special permit, which as I understand is the only real consideration since there is no more waiver for parking anymore. Additionally, when I, like many others, voted in favor of the Kafka farm purchase, this project was on my mind. As a town, we conserved over 20 acres of open space that could have been sold to a developer to build $30 million homes by right. Approving this development provides 96 homes on less than an acre of land that doesn't increase any burdens on the built infrastructure of the town. and has already been paved over, so it won't further disturb our natural environment. If we want to continue to conserve open space in our community going forward, we have to take every opportunity to redevelop our existing footprint to pay for it. Thank you.
Thank you. I gave you a timer and a half. Okay, we have one more person.
This is Steve Kenichi.
Steve Kenichi.
Hello, Steve Kenichi from 3 Harrow Road in Norwood, District 4, town meeting member. Even when mechanical parking lifts comply with building and safety codes, that doesn't mean automatically it counts toward the parking required by Norwood's zoning, unless the zoning bylaw specifically says so, which Norwood's does not. Power failures and functional outages will reduce the number of lifts at any time, and there's no way we can really support that. Maybe with their poor reliability record, maybe lifts should not count towards approved parking spaces at all. Maybe they should be supplemental, or maybe they should be counted as a fraction of the space, or maybe there should be some redundancy required. I think we should delay approval until we can have a chance to hash these issues out, or until this applicant can decide to have the correct number of apartments for the parking spots that he has. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, go ahead. We have got to keep it in line because the applicant gets to respond. And does everyone realize that this is not what the board is voting on? We are voting on the water what?
The bonus for the storm.
The bonus for the stormwater. This is the enforcement officer's deal to, they're not asking for a waiver for parking. Does everybody realize that?
Yes.
Okay.
Jean Taylor, District 8, town meeting member for so many years, I don't want to say.
Yeah, don't say.
Okay, good. And I think the storm, I'm sorry?
What's your address?
Address.
Your address.
11 Monroe Street, Norwood. My neighborhood is affected by this. I've lived in the neighborhood for 70 years, and it's always been surrounded by woods when I got there, so I watched the police and fire station be built. I watched 3 major projects be built for apartments, and I mean, it's obvious what the changes have been. Unfortunately, I think it's a sign of the times, and some of it has not been able to be stopped. Traffic is already an issue, and I think somebody did ask about a traffic study. I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think it's going to stop this project, but I don't think it's a bad idea to be looked at, because it's definitely an issue. Our police and fire station is overloaded already, we already know that, and we're bursting at the seams in Norwood. All of that said, it's so sad, I watch it every day. I can't go back and change how we got here. Legally, I'm going to come out and ask Sarah, legally, can we stop this project? Sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I think I know the answer.
No.
Thank you.
That was
If there
Debbie's
was a
voice,
way,
not
I would be
Sarah's.
standing up here saying that's what I would like to do, is stop the project.
Call your state house.
I don't want the project, absolutely, if I call them anymore.
Keep
I
calling.
don't want the project, and I certainly don't want this addition to Norwood into my neighborhood. But because I feel like it can't legally be stopped, I'm going to be polite enough to thank you for doing what you've done to eliminate some of the things that we've asked about, and for what you have in front of you right now, which is the drainage issues, which is a big project. And like I said, it's my neighborhood. I'd like to see it different. But some things, we only have so much control. And believe me, my husband has to listen to me at home when I'm there going, why can't we? Why can't we? I've done it so much, so many times.
If anybody wants to know where we get the information on apartments, it's apartments.com. I go on it every week. We're
The
running
height-
between 250 and 300 apartments available.
Right. The height is something that I really had an issue with, but you know what?
MBTA?
You're not going to go back. Yeah, you're not going to go back. Thank you very much, and I'm glad I'm not sitting up there.
Just a
Thank you.
reminder on time. The building closes at 10.
Okay, we are out of time. I've got one more. This is my last speaker. She's been waiting because she's got boo-boo
Hello
leg.
everyone, my name is Natalia Wilk. I reside
Yeah, speak into the mic, please.
at 1 Lennox Street, Natalia Wilk. And I just want to let you know that I'm definitely not for approval of this project. We have a lot of traffic. And I understand that the other people may have said something that they want to approve because it's not in the neighborhood. It's much easier said than done. We live in that neighborhood, we want to have it safe, we want to have it beautiful. This is our home. And if somebody wants to have the project, they can absolutely invite them to the neighborhood and the backyard. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now I'm going to let the applicant respond. We're not taking any more questions. John, we're up against it here.
I'll be quick as I can. The public has made some comments, and there's a common theme here of misinformation, unfortunately. A lot of comments were made about certain items that there has been no factual basis given, and just allegations that are untrue. First off, many people have talked about the fire department and the fire safety. I want to know if any people are experts, because the town of Norwood Fire Department Deputy Chief worked with me for over 6 months on designing this plan to make it safe for the fire department. The fire department changed the whole design of the building to their specs, and I complied. And I want to make the board note, I didn't have to comply. I met the National Fire Code, but the fire department of Norwood asked me at their request to change the whole building layout, and I did that for them.
We did explain that to the fire department?
Correct, and I have a letter here from the fire department that you guys have as well, stating that the building is now fully compliant.
We have that, and
Correct.
this is online,
And
right?
I'm putting this in the public, Madam
Fair.
Chair, because of the fact that some people in the crowd didn't take the time to do their research, and they're making allegations that aren't true. It's not fair to the project.
Okay.
Secondly, a lot of people talk about traffic. Not really an issue before. It's funny, now that parking's satisfied, that becomes an issue. The real reality is that people just are not in my backyard people. They don't want to see people have houses. It's sad. Regardless, to counter that,
These are not houses, they're apartments.
it's a home.
Okay. All right.
Somewhere you
All right.
live. Regardless, what is the least impactful traffic? Is it Chick-fil-A, Starbucks? Is it retail? Absolutely not. It's homes. The least amount of trips per day. That property is zoned for retail. I can do drive-through. I can do QSRs. You can do very high impact projects. Quick serve restaurants.
Thank you.
I chose to do apartments there for the benefit of Norwood, which is the lowest traffic impact.
Okay.
And then what blows my mind is some people get up here and talk about engineering items, and I don't have an engineering degree. Someone mentioned a 100-year storm versus a 2.5-year storm. I'd like to just turn it over to my engineer to explain that 100-year storm and what it is and how we satisfy it.
Well, hold on. Are we going to continue because, what do you think?
I prefer not to continue because I've been up here for many.
I understand that, but we're now being thrown out.
Okay. Well, just can you summarize?
Yeah, 1 minute.
Okay.
I just wanted to touch on one thing, just to clarify some questions about the about stormwater management. When I mentioned the 2-year storm, 3.4 inches of rain, just in reference, the stormwater management system is designed to attenuate up to and including a 100-year storm. So for that 8.4 inches of rain in 24 hours, we have a reduction in runoff volume of 43%. So it's not that we haven't considered those bigger storms, it's just I chose to mention one that happens on a regular basis, the 2-year storm. But the 100-year storm that happens about every 50 years and reduce runoff.
I think everybody's sensitive to flooding in Norway because of the hospital. So,
Reasonable.
yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable for us to be concerned with water runoff, because they told us the hospital wasn't going to flood either, so.
Yeah, I know.
With that being said, I have many more to address that were false and not correct, not backed by data. But in the interest of time and do want to get a vote tonight, I respectfully then will go back and not address the other incorrect statements.
Okay.
But I do request a vote tonight on those items, please, Madam Chair.
Well, it's not totally up to me, Mr. Shelley.
I request the whole board respectfully.
Do we have a flavor for the board? Are you, again, we are not, this is our, I always call you Pelletier, I'm so sorry. Oh.
You're right.
Okay, it's Mr. Pelletier's call. I'm as surprised as anyone on that, but I did ask him where in the zoning book, and he told us, which you can find online. We're only being asked for the water, sewer, stormwater, sorry, I'm cooked. For the we're only voting on stormwater, guys.
So you have two votes. You have the special permit for the stormwater bonus, and you have the site plan review.
Do you have to close public hearing?
And you'd have to close it.
Yeah,
let's do
and
that.
site plan review, I would really like to, we're getting the same building we're not changing the stone, we're not changing anything, because in here, it's artist rendering, which,
No, Madam Chair, just like we talked about in the other meetings, that is gonna look very like, if it's gonna look exactly like that. And we went through the site plan.
not like this.
Like what?
We had stone on the other one. This is just an artist rendering, isn't it?
No, it's still there. It's all there.
Okay.
Yes, that is the correct rendering.
Okay, and all this is online for anybody that would like to see it. Okay? Anybody that would like to see this, or you can just go into the office and see it. Or call me, I've got 4 copies.
There you go. Save a tree.
Do you guys have? You want me to just, anybody have anything to say? Do you want more time?
I totally understand the applicant's desire for a vote tonight. It's 10 o'clock. We're getting kicked out. I would like to get, I would personally, just one vote, I would like to continue just to get some of these last minute questions. As the applicant said, he had a few more things he would like to clear up. I would like to get it all out. I mean, right now, it seems like we're under the gun, we're rushing, and I think we covered a lot. I think we know what the planning board's lane is here. If
Our
they meet
lane
the
is
bylaw.
different than I think
But
everybody thought.
I just feel that it's 10 o'clock, and I would not mind voting at the next meeting. Or let's put it this way, if you want to close the public hearing, that's fine, but I'm not ready to vote tonight.
Okay. Okay. I'd like to take, okay, Joe?
The only thing on the public hearing, if we were going to be meeting again, he may want to answer those other questions.
That's right, so maybe we can-
So maybe we wouldn't do that, but we would just,
Do you want to keep the public hearing open so you can answer?
No, because they were all just rebutting that. It's
Right.
not new information.
Okay. So I would be in favor of closing the public hearing and vote, can we do that? And vote, yes.
Yes.
We're getting thrown out at 10 o'clock.
Well,
It's
after
2
10.
minutes after 10. I did let everybody speak. I apologize for not staying with my egg timer. Next time I'll use my phone. But do you have anything, Joe, that you want?
just to move to close the public hearing, if that's what everyone would ought to do.
Okay. Got a second? I can't
Second.
second it? Okay, all in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
It's unanimous. I like to honor my board members if they want more time. I want to give them more time.
No problem. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay.
So do I have to make it?
January 5th?
January, when's the next meeting?
January 5th.
January 5th, and we will meet to deliberate on, not a public hearing, we'll just meet to
Right, so
deliberate and
the
vote.
public knows, and you know, we can't take any new testimony, we can't take any more questions.
Correct. Can I attend that via Zoom? Is that okay?
Can you attend the Zoom?
Yeah.
There's no more comment, there's no more public comment, right?
No, it's just the board will vote.
Yep.
Okay.
So just to, there's a motion to
Motion.
continue. Ernie made the motion to
Second.
continue.
Not to, we close public hearing.
Yeah, but to continue the matter.
Continue the matter until January 5th at
At
7
7
o'clock
p.m.
at the senior center
And on
and on
Google
Zoom.
Meet.
And on Google Meet,
Google
sorry. And everybody
Second.
knows, second, all in favor
Aye.
of a continuance. And again, everybody knows we are not taking more questions from the applicant or, okay?
Is that everything except adjournment at this point?
Yes, make a motion.
I'll move to adjourn.
I had something, but we'll do that on the 5th. Okay, or no, on the, don't we have another meeting in December?
No. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas, thank you for your time, I really appreciate it.
All right, no, we didn't vote on motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, that was a second.
I seconded.
You have to vote.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
All right.